It's Friday already, believe it or not. With us today, we have Michael from Retro Blasting. As we talk about some Suicide Squad trailer that's supposed to be dropping. Lando is officially Pando forever. And yeah, it's Friday. How you doing, Andre?
I'm good, thank you. Put up a video earlier today that you almost broke your back putting together. Plus, we have an awesome guest today that I'm really happy about bringing back to Midnight's Edge.
Yes, we have Michael from Retro Blasting. Welcome.
Hey, it's always good to be on the morning show with Midnight's Edge, and thank you always for inviting me and having me. It's always a good time.
Always a pleasure to have you. How you been doing?
Can't complain. I've been working on like 4 different big videos, and I suffered through as a new series that we're trying to work on at Retro Blasting called Picking on Picard. I suffered through the first. I did. I suffered through the first episode of that show. With
wow! So you've only seen the first one?
Yeah.
oh my God. Okay. So, and you thought that was suffering?
Oh, I know that worse is coming. I know, but
these are the good episodes.
I know that's what Tim told me. Tim,
yeah, you should enjoy these moments.
Yeah, that's what Tim said too. He's like, "Oh, if you're already hating it, he's like, you're never going to get through the next 9 or whatever it is." And I'm just like, "Oh God." So we're doing that.
Well, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, we did a whole.
I'm looking forward. You should do like live reactions as you're watching it.
Oh, we did.
That's going to be huge videos.
We did. We shot ourselves watching the whole episode from beginning to end.
Oh, fantastic. That's going to be brilliant.
Yeah. So it's going to be fun. Yeah. But I've been doing that. Awesome. And then I've been working on a big Kathleen Kennedy video that I'm working on that's taking a long time, but it's going to be like a 30-minute deconstruction of everything that's happened in the last 4 or 5 years and how we got here. And then I'm also working on some other stuff. So, yeah.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Well, we got a couple super chats, Andre, to kick things off. I don't know if we got anything before the show, but Hyperguyver has one here we can bring up on screen. Why are we even talking about this? The DCEU is dead. We should just move on and take our money elsewhere.
Unfortunately, Warner doesn't know that. So they're putting out the trailer for the Suicide Squad, the one with James Gunn, today. I was honestly hoping it would have dropped before the show. It didn't, but maybe it'll drop while we're live so we can react to it. So is it dead? Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's kind of like a zombie-verse right now. But they don't know it, so yeah. Why should we be the bearer of bad news?
That was actually one of the ones that I was looking forward to. So we'll see how good the trailer looks if it drops here before the show's ended. Mags comes in with $5, says, "Hail all, happy Fade In Friday."
Yeah, indeed. Happy Friday, everyone. And all remember, fade in.
Yeah.
Also, Michael, you have to begin your Kathleen Kennedy video with that. You know that, right? It has to begin with fade in.
Well, I'm sensing the joke and I'm loving it, but I'm also missing the context. So,
you must not have seen that video of hers.
Oh, the Oscars one.
Yeah,
yes,
which is like fade in.
Yes, I saw.
Yeah, the one where she's talking so much with such immense pride of all the female representation and all the amazing people behind the camera, and the editor forgot to cut away fade in.
Okay.
I think it was meant to be in there.
That's
if
funny.
it was a joke, it was such a bad one.
I don't think it was a joke so much as they were trying to be
I think probably they try to make a joke out of their own messing up so badly, but that's me.
I think
because she says fade out at the end too.
Yeah, I tune out half of that. I did listen to the video, but I turned away to do something else when that.
It's not even that long.
Oh, I know. It's painful.
That's bad.
Part of that video will be in my piece as well. Yeah.
All right. And then Spider Unlimited says, "Made it to Megan Son fellas, listening to ME and putting it all on red for your folks." Well, whatever. Mohegan. Oh, did I say that right? Mohegan Sun.
Mohegan Sun. Well, let's see what that is. Mohegan Sun. I feel like that's something I probably should know what is.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, exactly. Mohegan Sun Hotel, Casino and Resort.
Oh,
very cool. Yes, nice. Yeah, exactly. See there. Now we know, and now he's putting it all on red. So yeah, let's gamble safely, and we'll keep our fingers crossed that red is the way to go.
Yeah,
certainly in this one particular context.
Absolutely.
And says hi, gents. Yeah,
hello.
Hi, everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah, it's a casino in Connecticut. So there we have it. So very cool.
In Rob's neck of the woods.
And before Cat says, wait for it. Maybe this is where I'm supposed to say that I believe today would have been Leonard Nimoy's 90th birthday.
Wow.
I think I saw something about that. Yeah, and if so, happy birthday, and you are still missed. And Cesario JPN says for $5, that Suicide Squad promo image looks like a very bad Sid and Marty Krofft TV show. Very, very, very bad Sid and Marty Krofft TV show. I have no idea what that means, but I don't dispute you.
It does kind of look like that that abandoned it wasn't Avengers, was it? Tom, keep me honest on this. Back in like the aughts, didn't they do like a pilot for some sort of DC team television show?
Yeah, Justice League.
Yeah.
It was garbage.
Yeah, it kind of has that vibe to the costumes. They're not that terrible, but they're very primary colored, and I think that's the vibe people are getting from it, is that it looks more comic booky than it does Snyderverse, I guess is the best way to describe it.
Okay, and now we have one more super chat to go through here, or a couple of more, and then we'll get into the main order of the day that we now actually can talk about. And Billy D says for $5, hail Midnight's Edge. Many thanks for the 30-minute deep dive documentary this morning on Warner, AT&T, and Justice League. Reminds me of the Trek documentaries that got me to sub. Excellent content. Oh, well, thank you. So glad you appreciated it. That video was much more time-consuming to write and to make, and I'm sure Tom will agree to edit, than initially planned, but that's kind of how it came out. So glad you enjoyed it.
Indeed. And the trailer did drop already, Andre. I don't know if
Yes, I saw. So let's just try to get into the last few super chats here, and then we'll get into the Suicide Squad trailer. Now we have Stephen Otten, who says, hail Midnight's Edge, Wrenches, and everyone in the chat. I want producer credit. According to the IMDb, I may already have it.
Well, yeah. I don't know why everybody's just discovering this now. I told everybody about the IMDb thing a while ago. And I even tried fixing it and doing some other things, because even other people have noticed it before too. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I appreciate that someone has taken the time to put us all on the IMDb. I just wish that they would have done a little bit more research in like who is producing who and who is not at all in any way, shape, or form connected to what.
Andre, it was done purposefully, and I noticed that a long time ago.
Yeah,
and I said that back then. But yeah. Anyway, thank you for that, Stephen Otten. You are a producer here. As long as you're sending money, you're helping us produce.
And Jorge Burgos Jr. says, did you see the fake Thor poster I put on the Facebook group? I have not seen that yet. Did you see it, Tom?
It's all right.
It's all right. Oh, let's see if I can find it right now then. Just give me 1 second.
I didn't bring it up because it was fake.
Yeah, it's probably better than the real thing when that comes out, I should imagine.
Not really. I don't know about that, but yeah, I mean, it's.
Yeah, well, I'll find it. I'll find it later. I can't find it right now in this second, but we'll get back to that. Ensign Ricky says, "Hey Tom, drop it in to say hi. Hope all is well. Is everything well, Tom?
It's good enough. I'll say that much.
Yeah, that'll have to do. And on that note, STR Red Wolf says, "Can we get a coffee check on Tom? Another 5-hour stream last time." So, well, yeah,
Indeed.
Tom needs his coffee, it appears. I have some iced coffee right here, but
I don't drink
difficult
coffee.
Well, maybe you should.
And then you skipped one. You actually skipped Thornton Wagner or Wagers.
Yeah, I know. I did that deliberately because I wanted to go straight from that to the coffee. Yeah. Thornton Wager said, "Morning. Is Gotham worth watching? I need more DC." Honestly, I can't answer that because I don't watch Batman shows without Batman. But that's me.
I dipped out after like part of the second or third season because of that reason. It just got too wacky for me. Did you watch it at all, Michael? I don't think I wouldn't imagine.
I saw clips as I would flip by, but I did not actually watch Gotham. I saw a few promos and I watched a few videos about it on some of the various Fandom Menace channels. But no, I haven't seen it.
Doesn't seem like something that would be in your wheelhouse at all.
No, and I really like Batman. I just like my Batman a certain way, and yeah, so.
Yeah. Fezman comes in with release the moist cut, Tom. Well, we'll have to see about that. Kit Kat sends in 10 pounds, says, "A thought for Leonard Nimoy on his birthday. Born March 26, 1931, died February 27, 2015, aged 83. Still loved, still missed, still with us in Star Trek." Indeed.
Yeah, and I got it, didn't I, Kit Kat? I saw where you were going.
Yes. I believe you did.
Yes, still missed.
Indeed. Then we also got a few more coming in here. Just make sure I get them in the right order so I don't miss anything. Next, we got Ronan Blade, who says, "Michael, did you find where KK buried all the Star Wars reference material?"
That's going to be a large part of that video, is talking about, all the things that they threw in the waste bin before they started their crusade into mediocrity. Yeah. So, and how they're trying to rapidly, clunkily bring a lot of that stuff back. They're digging up a lot of the stuff they murdered.
Well, I think a lot of that part of the reason why Filoni is more than happy to work with Favreau, because he gets to bring back some of his dead characters. And yeah, Favreau knows what the extended universe means to the fans, I think.
Yep, exactly.
And as far as like her comment about, we don't have 500-page novel, they're comic books to adapt. I think that was either a crack at Benioff and Weiss or a crack at Feige, and it just didn't work out well.
Yeah, it was tone deaf. It was just like, oops. Yeah.
I think it was a crack at Benioff and Weiss, who were out, just out at that time.
Well, I would think so too, but then she mentioned the comic book part of it too. So like it could have been a crack at both.
I think it was both. One doesn't have to rule out the other.
That's very true. Kit Kat says, "Hail the mighty Jeremy Griggs, puppet master who controls us all. Indeed, he radicalized me. I could show you on the doll where he radicalized me."
Be careful about making sound bites like that.
Yeah, if they take that shit seriously, then I'm sorry. Hey, Anthony, how you doing? Frickin' Anthony says, what's up, peeps? From over there at Dark Gift Comics Presents. How you doing, Anthony? Thank you for showing up this morning. We appreciate it. We got a script doctor in the chat, too, I see here. And I think that catches us up on... Oh, nope, I spoke too soon. We got one more super chat, it looks like, here before we get going. Looks like, we also got Father Christopher Miller in the chat, so we got to watch our swearing. Drew with Comics Elite says, "Finished watching the first 3 episodes of Invincible, and it was good until the 3rd episode happened. So much wokeness." Yeah, I never watched that show, but...
Note to self, do not watch Invincible.
Yeah, that's kind of what I do too, is wait till a few episodes are out. If people are like, yeah, it's pretty good. Kind of like the new Superman show. So I'll eventually get into it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Michael, have you watched that new Superman show at all?
I saw the first episode.
Did you? Did you enjoy it? Or
I like the guy playing Superman. I have no problem with, I think his name's Tyler. I have no problem with him at all. I certainly like it a lot more than the dystopian Superman that they've tried to push out there. I don't have anything against Henry Cavill as an actor, and I think he's a perfect looking Superman. I just wish they would have given him, in my opinion, better material to develop the character. But this Superman and Lois show, I don't know if it's going to be. It feels like it's going to be more adult Smallville, and I wasn't that big a fan of Smallville. So.
Yeah, that could be a problem. Yeah. Laser Pants says $5 because Retro Blasting is on the show. Well, thank you, Laser Pants.
That's very kind. Thank you, Laser
Appreciate
Pants.
That.
He co-hosts a great podcast called The Infinity Equation, live stream called The Infinity Equation on YouTube.
There you go. House of Trades, a good friend of our channel, says, Hail Midnight's Edge. I finished watching BSG 2004 last night, the miniseries, and season 1 and was great. Season 2 was political. Season 3 and 4 was hard watch. Dumb. So evidently the show got crappy over time. And then I'm assuming you're not even going to bother with, is that the one that had the spinoff as well? If I remember right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the Caprica spin-off.
Caprica, yeah. I was going to call it Caprice, but yeah, it's Caprica. Yeah, I never got into either, really. I do remember watching like the first couple episodes, and I'm like, yeah, it's all right. I just never got into it. And that was way back when it first was on.
And with this super chat, we have the perfect segue to the first main topic of today. Tiberius Monk says, I just saw the Suicide Squad trailer, and all I can say is, hell yeah. This may be the Suicide Squad film we should have had. Wow. Okay, perfect. We are now in the position where we can all do the live reaction to the trailer right now. It's going to be demonetized, of course, but most of our content ends up demonetized sooner or later anyway. It's kind of like why we really appreciate you helping us keeping the lights on with your super chats and questions and comments. Allows us to do stuff like this. So
yeah, sorry, out of principle, every time we play my song, I got to claim the stream. It's just one of those things. I got to keep it real. Yeah. All right, let's watch this trailer. I'm kidding, of course, folks. This is the Red Band trailer. I feel naughty watching it.
You gotta be kidding me. You're gonna risk the entire mission for a mental defective dressed as a court jester.
It's coming from a guy that wears a toilet seat on his head. We don't leave one of our own behind.
Hopefully Harley's still alive.
No funny business, Arnold. These are dangerous people.
Team 2 is clear to go.
Fire up. 3, 2.
What are you guys doing?
What? We're here to save you.
You were gonna save me?
It was a really good plan, too.
Well, I can go back inside and you can still do it.
That's patronizing.
I'm so sorry. Harley Quinn.
Blood sport.
You know the deal. Successfully complete the mission, you get 10 years off your sentence. Times are hard. You fail to follow my orders in any way, and I detonate the explosive device in the base of your skull.
Can do the job for free.
So this is the famous Suicide Squad. Nom nom.
Any questions?
And
Yes, that is your hand. Very good.
we're all gonna die.
I hope so.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Here's the deal. We fail the mission, you die.
If we find out any information you give us is false, you die.
If we find out you have personalized license plates, you die.
What? No.
If you cough without covering your mouth.
Harley, although that isn't an open invitation for you to cough without covering your mouth.
What's the plan?
How the hell am I supposed to know?
You're the leader. You're supposed to be decisive.
And I've decided that you should eat a big bag of dicks.
If this whole beach was completely covered in dicks, and somebody said I'd eat every dick until the beach was clean for liberty, I would say no problemo.
Why would someone put penises all over the beach?
Who knows why madmen do what they do?
This is suicide. Well, that's kind of our thing.
Are you worried? I'm gonna get you out of here alive.
I'm going to get you out of here alive.
Oh my God!
We've got a freaking kaiju up in this shit! I don't wanna do your
We love the rain. It's like angels are splooching all over us.
Interesting.
Did you see that it said with Sylvester Stallone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can kind of remember him supposed to being in it.
Yeah, I remember that too. Just
Is
like
that Starfish thing the same thing the Justice League is fighting on the cover of their first?
Yeah, it's Starro. Yeah.
Yeah,
Starro.
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So, I hope some of the better jokes are saved for the movie because a lot of those fell kind of flat for me. I don't know about you guys, but a couple of them were all right. But
I have so freely admit without any worry about what the audience is going to do to me by saying this, but this is the first DC movie that I've actually been interested from the trailer to go watch. I am actually plugged into this one after seeing what we just saw because I love Deadpool and Deadpool 2, and I do like James Gunn's sense of humor in Guardians of the Galaxy, and I feel like he's finally, you saw the way they described him from the hilariously twisted mind of James.
Yeah, that was cool. Was cool.
That was a thumb in the eye at Disney for not recognizing that, I think. And I'm actually very hopeful for this now. I will enthusiastically watch this film. Like, I want to see what this is. And I did like the humor in it, but again, maybe I'm just broken. So
I did, but a couple of the jokes just fell flat there. So I'm like, oh, I hope they're just saving the better stuff for the movie. Because I know James Gunn's funnier than that.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Andre, your reaction.
Honestly, this is a movie that I have been looking forward to ever since we heard that James Gunn would be doing it. I wasn't a big fan of the Suicide Squad, but I have become a big fan of James Gunn. So just knowing that he was going to do it, I was interested for his take. So I had great expectations for this trailer. And maybe that's the problem, because honestly, I was underwhelmed. Like, I didn't smile once at this.
Well, I think my advantage is that I've been paying zero attention to the DC cinematic universe this entire time, that I wasn't even paying attention to a lot of the news about it, aside from the Snyder Cut hoopla that's happened in the last few weeks, that I had no expectations going into this. I couldn't stand the original Suicide Squad movie, and when I heard David Ayer was doing it, I was like, and I'm going to be 50 miles away from that mushroom cloud, because I don't like anything that guy does. So this to me is just, I'm willing to give it a shot, I guess is what I'm saying. I'm willing to see where it goes.
Oh yeah, I'm hopeful for it still. I'm kind of with Andre though. Maybe I had too high of expectations going into the trailer.
Yeah, because like the only cool thing here was like the shark dude, like King Shark or whatever his name is. Like, and honestly, I know nothing about the character. I wasn't even aware of his existence until I saw like in like the genre websites. Oh, King Shark, he was in the Flash and looked amazing, and then I saw like, oh yeah, cool.
I'm aware of the character.
He looks like the guy in Savage Dragon. And then upon seeing him here, like, yeah, he looks cool. He eating people and stuff. You can do a lot of fun with that. But really, that was underwhelming.
Well, you know, the DC cinematic universe has largely been underwhelming.
True,
and it has a long way to crawl out of that well.
Let's just go ahead, Michael.
No, I was just going to say maybe this is baby steps. Who knows?
Yeah, like I said, let's just hope that the better stuff's in the film, Andre. Because
let's hope. Let's hope the better stuff is in the movie, because there were a couple of things I was looking forward to. I was looking forward to John Cena, because I really learned to appreciate him in the Bumblebee movie. I thought he was great in that. I was looking forward to him in this ridiculous costume. I was looking forward to the shark guy. I was looking forward to James Gunn, obviously, and but I can't say how disappointing this was.
I don't think I'm as disappointed as you are, but I get where both sides are coming from on this one. Radio Man 1017 sent us a $5 super chat and says, "Morning, guys. Did you see Marvel just retconned Han Solo? He was now never a smuggler, but always a revolutionary."
Yeah, right.
Interesting. We're actually going to talk a little bit about a Star Wars here in a little bit. No,
yeah,
I did
so
not
hold that thought till then.
Yeah,
we'll get
Super
back to
Nate
the
says
revolutionary.
yeah, that we did see Starro. I thought so. Speaking of Starro, we're going to talk about Santa's Star Wars Pride covers here in a few minutes, I think. But no, I mean, well, how long do we have to wait for this? Because it's going to be on HBO Max. So
I think it's like in fall, isn't it around August or something like that? I think
that far away.
Let's well, we probably should have looked this up before.
Unless they moved it up, because they've been kind of dropping the trailers closer to when they come out.
Well, let's see. I hope it's in May, but let's see. No, it says here. Still says that it's gets a no here no
August.
That's the trailer. Yeah, it's still August, so it's still like a good 4 months out, more than 4 months.
Okay.
August 6th is when it hits theaters and HBO Max. Meaning it's HBO Max on August 6th.
Yep. DeGhost DS says Birds of Prey 2. Basically, I hope not. That looked leagues away from that.
Yeah, come on. It was underwhelming, but let's not insult it that way by drawing any budgetary comparisons. That's uncalled for.
Adrian Nazaruk, if I'm saying that correctly, I apologize. Sent us a super sticker. Thank you so much. W. Alexander didn't like the looks of it.
I think this one is going to be divisive. I really do. I hope that they save the better stuff for the movie.
That's what I'm saying.
Really hope so.
Not to bring up a sensitive topic, but I'm seeing in the chat here that a lot of people are mentioning that James Gunn has made statements about Carano and cancel culture. I must have missed something. What happened?
I don't know about him making a statement. I know he did say something, but it was kind of...
It was very two-faced of him, because basically he kind of supported the decision to fire her. He kind of did. Yeah,
it wasn't a direct one, and I think the one that was worse was that he liked a tweet. But
yeah, see, he shouldn't be doing that of all people. That's
no.
Yeah.
I do feel that he has that if it comes to a popularity contest between him and Gina Carano, that's not the fight that he should be taking.
No, that's very bad.
Yeah, and then ST Red Wolf says, or STR Red Wolf, I should say. This movie lays the humor thicker than chunky peanut butter. It's not offensive, but I won't spend release day theater price to watch it. Well, you won't have to if you have HBO Max.
That's right. Now, is HBO Max doing that thing like Disney Plus where they're like, even though you're already paying for the service?
Not yet.
Okay. All right.
I hope they don't start to, and I don't think they will, because their whole goal right now is to sell HBO Max.
Yeah.
And that'd be counterproductive to that. And I've heard that both instances of Disney doing that have not done well for them, so they're banking on Black Widow being the one, basically. Yeah. Kyle Dawson says, is this film backed by T or Warner Allies? This came about before that was even a thing.
It did, but that being said, though, this one is actually going to be a little bit of both. This is one that there's universal agreement upon, because this is a movie that honestly it doesn't refute the Snyderverse in any way. It's kind of like a loose continuation, which may or may not be part of the Snyder continuity, because it's like the sequel to the original Suicide Squad. But it's also Snyder continuity. But at the same time, here's why AT&T is actually in favor of this, because the guy played by John Cena, there's a spin-off series in development about him, and that's for HBO Max. So this is actually one project where they are in agreement. So the situation between AT&T and Warner Media isn't such that it's either everything this or everything this.
This movie. Oh, go ahead, Andre.
Yeah. Because AT&T are more like, if it makes money, we support it, and they are big fans of the Snyderverse, but at the same time, they are not fans of other things that can also make the money. and they are fans of the Suicide Squad because they think it can make the money, and they're really excited about this John Cena spin-off series.
Yeah, this is an oddball. This is before AT&T decided the Snyder Cut was a thing. This was supposed to be the movie, and this goes back to when I still was hearing things. Like I was telling everybody, like everything is a soft reboot from here on out. This one was the first one that was supposed to be more of a semi-hard reboot because of the title. And yes, it has some of the same characters, but it was supposed to be a completely tonal shift from the first film, but still retain the R-ratedness. Like Michael was saying, kind of a bit more of the Deadpool humor to it. And I'm seeing that, but I'm not seeing the James Gunn that I know I usually enjoy. So hopefully that's just being hidden, and we're just seeing, you know, some more of the gross out stuff in this trailer. The next trailer will have some of the better jokes. But yeah, this is kind of a funny stepchild, or however you want to put it, because until the Snyder Cut happened, the whole thing was they were trying to lighten up the DC universe and not have it as interconnected. It was still connected, but it wasn't supposed to be as connected, so they could just go off and do their own things.
Yeah, that is indeed where they were going before AT&T. They wanted to basically keep everything standalone with minimum connective tissue. And the reason, honestly, is because they realized we don't have the skills to do this. We don't have a Kevin Feige. We've tried and we failed miserably. So we're just going to let the filmmakers do their thing. And we're kind of just going to pretend it's like the same thing. And they're not going to be consistent at all. That was kind of like the Warner way of doing things. And this movie is a result of that.
Yeah.
From that mentality.
And then sometime after this film, or during the making of this, is when the Snyder Cut business happened and a lot of shit changed.
Yeah, this would have been in post-production, I think, when that
probably
the Snyder Cut actually came together in like less than a year, so that went really fast, all in all.
Yeah, and then of course the pandemic happened, and that put everything on the back burner. So now everything's kind of just in the wings, waiting to begin. And now there's even the whole Michael Keaton thing may not even be in stone yet. So we'll see. I'm not so sure if he's talking about the Flash appearance or if he's talking about more films, but we'll see.
He's talking about the Flash appearance.
Is he really? Okay.
Yeah. He is really talking about it. So yeah, we'll see exactly what happens there. And then can you bring up the next super chat, Tom?
Pleb Gamers says the shark wasn't played by a real shark. We need shark appropriation. Yeah. Well, the shark actually looked pretty good, considering. Who's the little weasel dude? Isn't that the one that his brother's playing? Is a little weasel guy?
I have no idea.
I think so.
I don't know any of these characters, to be honest.
I don't know any of the characters, but I do know, like, I think.
Of course, his brother is going to be there somewhere.
Yeah, I think that's
the weasel guy.
I think so.
Very well be.
Looks like we got Yellow Flash in the chat. How you doing, Yellow Flash?
Hey.
Yeah, so we'll see. Hopefully there's a better trailer down the road. Bruce Campbell was in the X-Files and Congo. This is very true. Is there any sort of continuity in the DCEU now? Outside of characters, no. That's kind of where like Wonder Woman 84 was a bit of a soft reboot. Aquaman very tangentially connected to the other film just to kind of finish up the whole idea of, you know, him taking on the throne kind of thing. But outside of that and the characters, not really.
Yeah, that's kind of like why they have like this multiverse going, because that's their excuse for them failing miserably to create any kind of interconnectivity. And also they have J.J. Abrams, who for merchandising purposes wants to do his own completely separate 25% different versions of everything he does. Which is why you'll be getting a 25% different Swamp Thing. You'll be getting a 25% different Southeast Asian John Constantine. You'll be getting a 25% different activist Black Superman and stuff like that. So yeah.
All of this is going to do though is further distance Warner Brothers from their DC cinematic universe ambitions. I mean, this is just.
But they're gonna make it so safe and so accessible for everyone.
Yeah, I guess, but
that was sarcasm.
I know, but it's like I heard that, but I'm also sitting there going, when did corporations care more about safeness than they did about profit? That's where I'm still spinning,
For the last
when activists took over the boardrooms, that's when.
For some reason, yeah. And they're spending daddy's money. And then when that ran out, they got bailouts and activist money.
I'm just looking at this going, if you guys are really trying to bring a cinematic universe together and you've already fumbled this many times, handing over part of it to a 25% change factory and then putting part of it over here with, another person, you guys might as well just set the whole house on fire at this point. It's never.
Yeah, but from their point of view, what she said, we're going to do so many completely different things that'll be so amazing and so diverse and so fantastic and so diverse that there will be absolutely no burnout and people will be excited forever and you'll never, ever even miss Justice League Part 2.
Yeah. And Master Clockwork says, no shade towards Gunn, but I'm getting too many Guardians of the Galaxy vibes. I'd prefer a more serious Suicide Squad, not this goofy nonsense. Maybe it is a bit more serious, and this is the goofiest stuff we're going to see out of it. That's not kind of the vibe I'm getting now.
Yeah, we can't judge from trailer. Speaking of James Gunn, I found the tweet that he liked.
Yeah, it was one that he liked. As far as the one that he talked about, I can't remember.
Yeah, it was a pretty bad one. I will have to agree. Let's see if I can find it here. Here we go.
Oh my God, Andre's sharing something. It's about like the time my dad learned how to text.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got a text from my dad. I'm like, is this real? It is.
Yeah, go figure. But anyway, so the tweet that James Gunn liked, which he got a lot of flack for, was from a blue check mark called Olga K. I guess that I'm supposed to know who she is because she's a blue check mark. I don't, but never mind that. Anyway, Olga K then, she says, oh fuck, don't drag James Gunn into this unfortunate trending topic. And then she has like this stupid bullcrap conversation trying to look clever. So then she writes, my friend, oh wow, Gina Carano was fired. Me. For her bad acting? Yeah, she set the stage right there. My friend. No, for denigrating people based on their cultural and religion identities. Me. Slow clap, I guess. That's like the SJW clap, isn't it, or something? Oh no, yeah, it's like the shaking the hands. They don't offend anyone with the clapping noise, right?
I have no idea what the fuck that is.
Yeah, I think that must be it because like clapping is offensive.
I always thought it was like praising hands, but I have no idea what these emojis mean anymore.
And then finally the message: do not #cancel Disney Plus. So basically, there you have everything.
I want to believe that James was like liking it for the first part, but then then this other bit comes out.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, he liked that one, and in liking that, then many took that to mean that he agreed with.
Well, he made some comment on cancel culture as well, I believe, but it wasn't directly aimed at her. But it was still bad timing and bad taste, like Michael said. Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, but I don't remember the wording specifically. So
he was even called out by Ben Shapiro for that.
Yeah, if I remember right. Moose Matson says, on the midnight's edge of my seat every time I watch your channel. Well, that's a punny way of putting it. Always fantastic and always making a hell of a lot of sense in a crazy world. Well, we try. We try to apply logic where no logic is found. Kyle Dawson says, why did T eject Crunchyroll? Is Warner Anime better? I don't know all the ins and outs of the whole Crunchyroll situation. Michael, do you know anything about that whole thing that went down?
I don't know. I'd heard something vaguely about Warner, or AT&T or whatever separating from Crunchyroll or whatever it was, but I didn't go into it.
Yeah, and I'm not a big anime fan or into a lot of that kind of stuff, so I really don't know, so I can't tell you on that one. I know there's people on the YouTubes who do, So
anime certainly has a huge contingent. Yeah.
And Tom, before we lost a couple of super chats in between there. I saw
grab them
so quickly. In between there, Miguel Hernandez said they should just have made a Street Sharks movie. I'm too old for the Street Sharks, but I'd watch the hell out of a Street Sharks movie. And Pablo Papano
as long as there's a Vin Diesel cameo, at least, just out of because you have to.
Exactly. And Pablo Papano says the trailer looks bad and cheap looking. James Gunn is a jerk. Agree, David Ayer has never made a good movie. I've sold all stock in David Ayer. Like, I see his name on anything now, that's me out. Because
although I do want to see his cut of Suicide Squad out of curiosity.
I do want to see I want to see the Ayer cut out of curiosity. I don't think it's going to be a better movie per se, but I would like to see it because. And it's so frustrating because the Ayer cuts I submit and I stand by, that is something that they can make for pocket change.
Because it technically already exists,
It does,
I'm sure it needs some post work, but it's more done. It's more done than the Justice League was, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah,
there was a locked cut. They did, they just didn't color time it, and that was pretty much it. And it has like other.
They might have temp music or something too. I don't know.
They can finish it up in a month.
Easily.
Yeah. So, like for instance, if they made the decision today, they could drop the Ayer cut before the end of April, no problem, and no cost either, and they would profit insanely from it, because it would be far less work on that than it would be on.
Yeah, and they should have all the elements in 4K already, so it probably shouldn't cost for that. So
exactly. And then Stevie Conn says, James Gunn lost me with his comments on Gina Carano. He should know better. I'm with you, Andre. I thought the trailer was underwhelming. And Volt Cobalt says, as we are in comic territory, why not check out the Havoc mailing list on Indiegogo? Mailing list backers get an exclusive trading card. So yeah, Volt Cobalt wants you all to check out the Havoc mailing list on Indiegogo. And Flipmo360 says, we don't want the woke-verse. We want the Snydervrse. I didn't want to put it in those specific words in the video we put out earlier today, but that's kind of what Warner Media is saying, what Ann Sarnoff was saying. They're going to give you the woke-verse. That's because just go through that article in Variety. Did you count how many times she said the word diverse in it? I mean, she brought it up at least 3 different places.
Almost as many times as she said but.
Yeah, exactly. And like, oh, we like what Snyder is doing, but we're doing something so much more diverse.
We know you like it, but the fans are toxic, and we want it to be a safe place.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is such a bad way to do business.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Well, and I can't believe AT&T just hasn't put a stop to it. And this is where I said to Andre, I think this was probably all set in stone before this even, rolled out. Because otherwise, why would they be acting this way? And AT&T is not doing anything to combat
because there's no leadership. I've heard a little bit more about what's going on there since we made the video, so there will be an update forthcoming. They have no leadership. There's no one in power. There's no one in charge. So you have the different factions trying to seize control and trying to take control of the narrative and get it their way. But there's no one in charge. I mean, Jason Kilar really needs to get on that.
Well, and then supposedly, according to Ann Sarnoff, Jim Lee is kind of the one overseeing all of DC now.
Yeah, but that's a name only.
In there. Yeah, well,
that's a name only. He has no real power. It's not overseeing anything. I got the word on that too. He oversees nothing. He has the exact same role that Jeff Johns did. Because remember that he was first, he was like the half of the Kevin Feige that they had going, and then that didn't work. And then he was a consultant. And then they decided that, whoa, everything that this guy tells us on the big screen kind of bombs and backfires. So and plus fans have stopped liking him, certainly for movies. So let's just get rid of him. And we get this guy instead. So what I've heard is that Jim Lee, he's a consultant. He can give advice to like their story group, which is very diverse and very woke and all stuff like that, right? And then that story group doesn't have to listen to him. So he's an advisor without any kind of real power. They name dropped him, but he's not overseeing anything.
All right.
So yeah, he's working. Yeah, see, we have it right here. Fred Albert says, "Oh yeah, according to Ethan Van Sciver, he is working on the DC character Bible." So yeah, he's a consultant. He's working on the character Bible, but he has no real power. Other people decide that they're going to do this or that.
That's so not basically the way she made it sound, but yeah.
Well, I guess we could play a TV game show called Count the Sellouts, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And as many also point out, like Hypergiver too, Jim Lee is an artist, not the storyteller.
I know, and I get that, but yeah, I'm just going by what she said because we have nothing else to go by.
Yeah, and according to her, it was their decision to release the Snyder Cut, and they're happy about it.
Well, that So
yeah,
that's
I'm gonna take. I agree with you. We really have nothing more to go by. But I've heard from other places that what she said there about him being in charge, that's a gross exaggeration.
All right. Pleb Gamer RNG, are we caught up here? Did you have...
Oh, no, far from it.
Okay.
I'm not caught up at all. But we can do this one since we're on screen.
Well, I know, but I didn't know if there was any more in between we had to catch up on. That's what I meant.
Pleb Gamer RNG says the fact that they didn't even allow Green Lantern in Zack Snyder's Justice League makes me think that DC and Warner is still traumatized by the Green Lantern movie.
Yeah,
they are. They absolutely are. And the beauty is that that's something that most people who are there can like distance themselves from, because you know how long ago that is now? 10 years.
Yeah.
It's just about 10 years. Can you imagine that, everyone in the chat? Like, if you remember seeing that. It's 10 years ago. How time flies.
Yeah, they've been trying to get this shit going for 10 years now. They might as well just start over, like I said. But yeah, do we have any more in between there that we missed?
Yeah, we do. Alex Acera says, in a hypothetical scenario, if Snyder and company were reinstated, I'd make him a lead co-producer alongside Jenkins and Wong to balance budget and tone. I'm not so sure about Jenkins. She had a lot of power over Wonder Woman 84, and you saw how badly that went. And Bruce Campbell was in the
X-Files in Congo.
Oh, yeah, X-Files in Congo, of course. That was the any sort of continuity question.
Okay, so
yeah, and Master Clockwork said no shade towards Gunn, but I'm getting too many going. Yeah, we got that one. Okay. Yeah, and then we got to Pleb Gamer, and the next one then is from Lord Trinan.
Trinian, yep.
Yeah.
Lord Trinan says, I miss the days of standalone movies like Joker. Can we please give up on cinematic universes and focus on individual quality, please? Well, that's what Warner Brothers was kind of on the verge of doing until the whole Snyderverse thing kind of got caught up in the mix.
Yeah.
And again, it's like a blessing and a curse at the same time, because I'm glad that the Snyder fans got what they wanted. I'm glad I finally got to see his original story kind of played out. I'm not so sure why they tagged it with all that extra shit at the end to kind of leave it cliffhanging, because there is at least mostly a story there you can kind of close off. The only thing left open is the whole dark side part of it. But again, I mean, I don't see where there would be any harm in allowing Snyder to continue on HBO Max doing like, a limited series of Justice League movies or something. But as far as the rest goes, yeah, I mean, I thought for a while there, Warner was kind of on the right road of embracing the idea of doing more individual films, not worrying about the connective tissue so much or adhering to a tone. And then I saw shit like Birds of Prey. So
Michael, carry on.
I was just going to say, sorry, I just can't figure out, based on what Tom has been saying, and it's been rattling around in my brain for several years now, is how they'll say, oh, well, yeah, we know we messed up trying to connect things too fast and too epically, too soon. We killed Superman in his second cinematic appearance and then tried to bring him back, and that didn't work. And Batman has been reintroduced here, and Wonder Woman was part of the Snyderverse, but now in her second movie, that's not going to be the case, which also is going to mess everything up. But we're also going to bring the Snyder Cut back. I'm just like, okay, guys, your time, whatever drugs you're taking at DC and Warner, you need to stop. You need to go cold turkey.
Well, unfortunately, what you have here, Michael, is a problem of the two different factions thing, and the Snyder Cut wasn't even a thing until just over a year ago.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I'm aware.
And it's like, and again, it's I can't. Like I was saying, I was all for going away from that, getting to a new direction. Joker and Shazam were in the right direction. It felt like to me. Aquaman, I could have took her left, but I know a lot of people enjoyed it. And then we got Wonder Woman and Birds of Prey right in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so those two, it's
like those are almost worse.
And Birds of Prey. That is what represents the direction they want to
I know,
go.
and that scares me because it's like that shit's worse than the Snyderverse. It's like as bad as the Suicide Squad was, I'll watch that 10 times over before I watch Birds of Prey again.
Yeah. And also, here's the thing to keep in mind. The Joker was an outlier. The people running the show, not at AT&T, but over at Warner Media, they fought against Joker tooth and nail. They didn't want it. They had to cut the budget several times over before they're like, yeah, okay, at this point we can't lose anything. We've already won through the pre-sales, so fine, just do it then. That's what it took, but they didn't want to do it. They wanted, the people running show, the stuff that they want for you, that's Birds of Prey and Wonder Woman 1984. That's
Joker
their
was
idea.
A fluke.
It was
Joker only happened because Scorsese was attached to it originally, and then after he backed off, like you said, Andre, the fact that they could just make it for so minimal, that's the only reason it worked.
Yeah,
and they got away with it. Mags says, for some reason, when I saw the shark, I immediately thought of the left shark from the Super Bowl. I don't know. I guess Sylvester Stallone is doing the voice of the shark, though.
Is that him? Is he the voice of the shark? Is that what he's doing?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm actually disappointed, but well, fine. I'm sure it'll be fun.
Kind of makes sense though now after the hand scene and shit. It sounds like him. And Bruce Campbell was in X-Files and Congo, says JJ never sells his 25% different merch. Why even try? That's
I will tell you, because in the off chance it works, it's gonna make so much money.
Well, and the things he does work on at first, it does kind of work out outside of Star Trek. I guess you could make an argument for that. But
last time I was in London, so anyone who are in London, let me know in the chat. Then maybe you'll recognize this. The place I'm talking about. Help me out here. In the center of London, they're around Leicester Square, you have 2 comic book shops. One of them is the Forbidden Planet, and the other is Orbital Comics. Anyway, last time I was in London, I went into this, I think is Orbital Comics. And in there, they had some toys, some Captain Kirk toys from Star Trek Into Darkness, I believe it was. And they had been there collecting dust since the movie came out. This was last year. So by then those toys would have been there for 5-6 years at that point. They had never increased in price. They were $15.
Yeah, there's nothing toyetic.
They had never sold anything.
Yeah, there's nothing toyetic about Abrams Trek films. There's nothing about those movies where you're like, ooh, I wish I had some toys from that. So why would anybody, especially Into Darkness, why would anybody want anything from that movie merch-wise? Forget it.
Yeah. So yeah, good times, and he will now be coming to the DC universe, and this is what Ann Sarnoff is so excited about. Actually, Michael, how excited are you for J.J. Abrams' Superman by, what was the guy's names again? Tom, help me out with the writer's name.
For which one?
The Superman, Black Superman.
Ta-Nehisi
Coates.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how to say the name.
Anyway, basically the guy, he's
Ta-Nehisi?
first and foremost a political activist. Secondly, he's an extremely biased journalist.
Yes.
And then he dabbled into comics. He did a run on Captain America, and he did a run on Black Panther, and I've never read any of them, and I never will. But from what I gather, they were both overtly political, and they were both horrible. How excited are you about this guy writing a Superman movie?
Anybody that J.J. Abrams picks to write anything, to me, that person just gets their wagon hitched, to my opinion, about J.J. Abrams, period. I do not like anything that this man does. I've gotten to the point where I'm no longer fooled. The last J.J. Abrams thing that I saw in theaters, period, was Force Awakens. And I already did not like his Star Trek stuff, but Melinda and I felt like, well, we need to see this new sequel trilogy. And then after that, I said, nope, I'm not going back to see any of the rest of those. But anything Abrams is attached to, I don't entertain, because his track record is he's shown us who he is, and I believe him. And so, like, really, like, so when
I just like how you put that.
Yeah, and so when he went off and said, "Oh yeah, the Rise of Skywalker writer is the dude who did BVS," and I'm like, why does that guy even still have a job in Hollywood? And why do you, Mr. Abrams? I was like, no. So when I heard that he's already wrecked Trek and he's already wrecked Star Wars, so now he's like, oh gosh, I need to go quick. I need to go get a job at DC before they figure out that I'm a house fire also. And they're like, here, have Superman and have these other projects. And it's like, no, I will not be giving any money to that. None. Voting with my wallet. Nope. So
I'm already dreading what he's going to do to Justice League Dark and his Southeast Asian Constantine. On that note, good morning, Rob. How's it going?
Is it morning still? I'm not sure anymore.
Yeah, it depends on where you are. But
still on the West Coast, it is.
Okay, well, it's morning somewhere. Just like Toby Keith says, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So
that's right.
Somebody said Jughead Abrams, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. My ears perked up. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I shouldn't call him Jughead Abrams, because that's actually an insult to Jughead.
It is. Did we miss any super chats in between this one and the last one, Andre? Or
I saw.
Well, let's see. Meanwhile, carry on, Rob. In the meantime, of what you saw.
I got a couple things to take care of, so I can join you for a little bit here. So those. Let me tell you. The sink up front's not going to fix itself. So anyway, no, really,
no, sinks very rarely fix themselves.
Well, usually the way it fixes itself is that the leak becomes so bad that the whole house has to be replaced.
Well, if it was the Stone Age, it would just be a warthog piggy kind of dinosaur thingy.
Yeah, it's J.J. Abrams. Really, I mean, like I said, no one. I really don't understand what the JJ Kool-Aid. I still don't. Like I said,
I don't think anybody's ever really drank it outside of Hollywood.
Well, the whole thing is, like Andre said, oh, maybe next time it'll work. Maybe next time it'll work. Maybe next time. Somebody remind me what the definition of insanity is.
Yeah, exactly.
I believe Einstein was the one who said something about it being like repeating the same mistake over and over. I believe it was Einstein who said that. So you should listen to him.
It's just, I mean, they're listening to young Einstein, unfortunately. Yahoo Serious. That's who they're listening to.
Problem with the JJ is even when he's wrong, he gets to be right at least twice before he gets to learn the third time. It's a fool me once, shame on you kind of thing.
Fool me won't get fooled again.
Yeah, he fooled us already. He makes the same movie over and over again. It doesn't matter what franchise it is.
Guarantee you, Superman's going to have magic blood.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And there's going to be a really angry guy with a really big spaceship that wants vengeance, and that person's going to try and destroy the planet. And Superman's going to. That's all J.J. Abrams does. That's everything he does.
The same revenge plots over and over again.
Yeah.
Sadly, the general audience doesn't really know or care who he is, because if they really knew he was the one responsible for so much shit that they hate, probably they wouldn't go. That's the thing. The general audience doesn't really pay enough attention. So.
Well, basically, we have a job to educate the general audience. Is what
but the other thing too is, like I said, it's just on a base level, like Star Trek, the 2009 Star Trek. Oh yeah, I was sold. I admit it. I thought, hey, hey, this is different.
The
it's not too bad.
Sells that movie though, not the story. The story's ridiculous.
And then when you step back, I'm like, wait a minute. Nero gets sent back 25 years into the past, and he sits there and waits. I'm like, you have a 25-year head start. Maybe you want to warn somebody.
No, JJ cut out the bit where it actually tells you what he was doing all that time.
Yeah, he did.
He was in a Klingon prison. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and that makes it worse. That makes it even worse because then he was in a Klingon prison until he calculated now Spock is going to come, and then they escape just like that. So not only it's actually worse
because then he's chilling out.
Worse, not better.
Well, at least the fact that he was in the prison it says why he didn't go save his planet.
Yeah, but he could walk out of prison anytime he wanted.
Why was he in the Klingon prison? It's Klingon prisons are the new Club Med in the 23rd century? What's going on?
They landed in when they came back in time. They came into Klingon airspace, and they were overpowered.
Well, anyway, Geode is very sad by that development. So anyway, as you can see.
He needs another tier. He needs to get one for the Star Wars franchise as well.
For God's sake.
Did we get this one yet, Andre?
Well, let's see what this one is. No, but I can answer that one. Doom. That's skipping a little bit, but I'll do.
Okay, I wasn't sure if we had any in between. Yeah,
but since you have it, Doomcock reviewed something called the Snyder Cut. Do you know what it is? As a matter of fact, I do know what the Snyder Cut is. That is one of the shows over at Collider. With some douchebag who is trying to pretend to be John Campea, and he has like the show is really sad stuff. It's on once a week, and they barely get more than 1,000 views.
I thought it was
that's what the Snyder Cut is.
I thought it was Justice League with Rob Schneider. Rob Schneider is a superhero, but he soon finds out that being a hero isn't so super.
That actually would have been better than this Snyder Cut program. So yeah, I know that's not what you were going with. Take your 6.0, but actually there is something called the Snyder Cut. Anyway, he says, "I kid, but this Suicide Squad movie is a pass for me." Yeah, I was so underwhelmed by it. Rob, did you see the trailer for the Suicide Squad yet?
Yeah, and for me, it's just another big pile of who cares. Really, I didn't see the others.
You didn't have to.
The other Suicide Squad. Jake put it. We did a podcast with Jake a bunch of years ago, and he described the Snyder Cut, not the Snyder Cut. He described the Suicide Squad as a movie. It was shot on film. It was shown in theaters. Therefore, it qualifies as a movie.
You know what's sad is of all the early films, that's my favorite one.
That is pretty sad.
It's the least bad.
I asked him about today. He goes, "How was Jared Leto's Joker?" If you got a chimp and flung, if you just showed a chimp flinging feces, that would have been better. You said,
yeah, that's the worst part. And outside of, Margot Robbie looks okay as Harley Quinn, but they clearly don't understand the character. But outside of that, everybody else is fairly well cast in the story.
It's too male gazy, Tom. Don't you understand? You should feel bad about liking Harley Quinn in that movie. You're just a cis white male. Shame on you.
And then you said we had a few other ones in between there, Andre.
Yes, we do. Because in between there, we had Pleb Gamer RNG, who said JJ is a master of repacking a refurbished product. See Star Wars The Force Awakens and Star Wars TLA. What's the TLA again?
As a specialist in retro restoration, I take umbrage with that assessment of J.J. Abrams. He's not a master of repackaging retro things.
I think he means TFA.
Okay, yeah, The Force Awakens, yeah. But yeah, in any event, point is clear. Yeah, he's not the master of anything other than to rip things off horribly. And then Stephen Otten says, if I wanted safe and accessible, as Sarnoff wants DC to be, I would still be watching Mr. Rogers.
Well, even Mr. Rogers, you get a couple important life lessons out of. But do you think at this point, let me ask Mike for retroblasting. Do you think at this point it's just a matter of, I know what J.J. Abrams does makes money, at least in the short term. But do you think at this point, it's a matter of they just don't want to be wrong about him? Yeah, because that's all I'm seeing.
Yeah, and that's also a corporate thing as well. You know, that even when they know they're wrong and the audience is at their gates saying they're wrong, they'll always say they're not wrong. And if the audience, it's counterintuitive, but it's the way they play the game where their customer base is angry about it and their customer base is vocal, but their corporate reaction is, well, we can't show weakness and we can't be wrong, so we're going to say the opposite and we're going to double down, which is counterintuitive to actually changing the switching the tracks and making the money back. Yeah.
You know,
but you also forget one thing, Rob.
What
he's one of the people on the right side of things.
Well,
his wife is one of the people behind the Me Too movement.
Yeah,
I mean, there's so many other things that JJ is, and he's a producer and other things, and he's been there for a long time.
Yeah, he's entrenched. Yeah, I know he's entrenched himself in Hollywood. I mean, his tentacles are everywhere.
I mean, he's been working in Hollywood since like the late '80s, early '90s, something like that.
Who hired him? Who first hired him so we could blame them?
I don't remember, but like one of his earlier things, he used to be a writer originally.
Oh, jeez. I didn't know the illiterate could someone who's
sadly he's a better writer than he is a filmmaker.
He wrote Regarding Henry.
Yeah, which isn't a horrible movie. The other
Do you know who can blame, Rob? Do you know who was instrumental in giving him an early shot and everything like that?
Spielberg.
Kathleen Kennedy.
I knew it.
Yeah, it's all nepotism.
But
it is. It all leads.
Like
back
I keep saying, though. Yeah, Hollywood's a gigantic circle jerk. We all.
It is. It is. It clearly is, and that's where he's a bigger masturbator than he is anything. But
the whole thing is like, you know,
he is a master thing, I should say.
I keep pointing out to that scene in Oh God, Book 2, when the committee of very learned psychologists and therapists and psychiatrists they're deciding whether or not to commit that little girl because she keeps saying she talks to George Burns and he's God. Well, if she's right, then we're all wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I still talk to George Burns, and nobody wants to commit me.
You know, I wrote a song years ago. Comma, become a comedian. You know that one? You come and go. So, you know, here's looking at you, kid. Okay, that's to send into Humphrey Bogart. Okay,
I was going to say that was nowhere near George Burns.
Keep working on that. His upper lip was paralyzed. So
upper lip was paralyzed.
George Burns is more
right. George Burns.
You keep your upper lip from moving, then try and talk. Then
the man at 100 he was booked into the Royal Albert Hall for a stand-up gig at the age of 100. I mean, so that really
he didn't die because of old age either. That's the fucked up part. He fell in the bathtub.
Nobody would book him. That's why.
No, I think he would have lived to be like 105 had he not fell. I think because he was in pretty good health for his age.
The cigar was just a prop after a while.
Yeah. It's propping him up. Andre, you said we had a couple more super chats in between.
Yeah, we do have a few more super chats to get through before we're caught up. Diego Flores says Crunchyroll was a revenue loss. Also, AT&T felt Crunchyroll would lose against Netflix in the long run. After the X-Arm fiasco, the decision was understandable. So AT&T, they did nothing wrong with shutting that down. And then Randy Wackenfeld says, safe and inclusive environment. As if the space wasn't already just that. They gatekeep the terms, insisting that theirs is the one true take. Hubris. Yes, that you are indeed right. I know that the terms safe and inclusive really are exclusionary terms, which I take to mean if you are the traditional fan, this isn't for you.
Well, in that article or interview, I should say, with Ann Sarnoff, I mean, she goes from one extreme to the other. She goes, "Oh, we're listening to the fans, but we're not listening to that group."
Yeah, we're not listening. We're not listening to the proven fan base, the ones that have been there for years and that have been able to move heaven on earth and raised millions or hundreds of thousands at least in charity, and who have put up billboards and have been really organized. We're not listening to them. Oh, no. We're listening to this other group of fans, the ones that we hope is going to spring into existence. Those are the ones we listen to.
They already exist. They're the kids who wait in line overnight for an iPhone, and shop exclusively at Whole Foods. I mean, like, no, they don't buy anything.
They won't spend their money on.
They won't spend. Like, they live comic books. Are you kidding me? I'm not going to touch those. Superhero movies, losers. That's what they think.
No, they just appropriate this to spread their propaganda. That's all it is.
And they're obsessed with trying to appeal to them. Look at the gay Captain America kid there. That's all this is.
Oh, you mean Captain Commie?
Yeah. Well, we're going to get into something similar to that actually here in a bit, Rob. As soon as we get caught up here.
Let me tell you.
I caught up anyway.
Before not take up too much. Before, when I saw that picture, I said, you know what? You got your nose ring there. That's not very well thought out, because if he gets punched in the face, they'll staple his nose to the back of his skull. Whoa, this shit hurts. Good luck.
Well, it's funny because Mandy on Toxic Femme was just telling a story about how she lost her belly button ring because she locked herself out of her house and had to crawl in a window. So you're right, Rob. I can imagine that's not a good place to have a piercing in the middle of a battle. It's like if you're ever going to be in a situation like that.
Also, on that note, Michael, did you see the image of the new Captain America in Marvel Comics?
I didn't see the Captain America in the comics.
Oh, you just wait, because I have it for you right here, and I'm curious.
Okay. I saw the new Cap in the new show, played by Kurt Russell's son or something like that. I saw that one, but I didn't see the comic one.
Oh no! Wait, like this is the one that I affectionately call not Captain America, but where is it now? Let's see if we can find it.
They've got this whole thing where they're Tu Wong Fu-ing Captain America. Really? And that'll make more sense if you knew what I was talking about. But
oh no, that's fine. Meaning what you were saying was fine.
No, like they're doing a bunch of different versions of Captain America, and they're all going on cross-country trip together. And
are they trying to do like an Into the Spider-Verse thing with Captain
Not
America?
Exactly. It's not like multi-dimensional, but it's kind of like more like the Death of Superman kind of thing.
Oh, phone. I gotta get going here. Yeah.
Well, thanks for hopping in, Rob. We'll talk at you later.
Later.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Tom, I can't find the image. Can you?
I'll see what I can find.
I can't bring it up. See if you can, because for some reason it doesn't come up in the menu here now. For some weird reason.
Off the internet like the Into the Dark High Republic trailer was.
All you gotta do is type "gay Captain America" into Google, Andre, and like.
No. I have the image. It's trying to bring it up here. The image I got. No problem.
That. You're just having a boomer moment.
No, I'm not having a boomer moment.
Well, what the hell is the problem?
I'm having a StreamYard isn't cooperating moment.
Well, that you just have to say StreamYard's acting like a pain in the ass. That's nothing new. All right, here we go. Here it is. At least here's one of them.
Yeah. And this is the one that I affectionately call Captain Commie.
He actually fights for LGBTQ rights.
I'm sorry, my brain is trying to process because so the first thing that I thought, and again, I'm now taking into account I guess that's his unmasked face down there on the lower left.
Yeah, and they don't show you, but on the other side of his neck, he has a red star tattoo.
Okay, so my first impression before I saw his face was that the illustrations of the outfit, it looks like somebody has taken like Mark Twain, Tom Sawyer style illustrations, like something on the Saturday Evening Post, and tried to turn it into like a kid who's supposed to be painting a fence has decided to play superhero for the rest of the day. Like it looks like because he's in overalls and cuffed pants and
how very diplomatic of you. I salute you for being so diplomatic.
I don't think it looks good. I don't think it looks good at all. I'm laughing on the inside, but that was my first impression was that's a trash can lid and that's a kid who should be painting his dad's fence, but he's decided to go run off into the woods and pretend to be Captain America. But then I looked down on the left and I saw the unmasked face and I'm going, now you guys keep me honest here, but aren't facial piercings and stuff very passe now? Like that was an aughts thing, and that's
I don't think it's for those people. And also, Pleb Gamer points out, isn't that Captain Antifa? Yeah,
pretty
that's
much
what it stands for.
No, I mean that's one thing that's kind of stuck around, Michael. I guess. I don't know.
Okay. Well, then because I'm seeing less and less of it, but maybe it's because I've gotten older.
Oh, thank God!
I ain't hanging out with the youngins anymore.
Right.
But even the young people that I worked around in corporations and stuff, I guess they wouldn't have allowed that anyway in a corporation. I'm answering my own question.
No, I don't know. Like that's the thing is like, yeah, I don't know anymore.
Yeah, this is so lazy. This is like when they did the Superman there in the New 52 that was just in like a black t-shirt and jeans.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. I'm just seeing laziness here. I'm just seeing laziness.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what it reminded me of when I first heard about the ideas. It reminded me of after the death of Superman when you had all those people kind of take over the mantle. You had a bunch of different Supermen. But then this is just kind of like a completely like, I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm not even talking about the Superboy from that. I'm talking about the New 52 Superman.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about as well. Like, yeah.
And everybody was aghast. We were like, wait a minute. Now Superman is just a Chad in a black t-shirt and jeans.
And I think that was actually because of Smallville, if I remember right. I can't remember which one. I can't remember which one.
That right there, that entire concept,
first.
that entire Captain America concept it's a dumpster fire right there. That is not going to last as a comic book. There's no way.
I will say, as someone who is not American and who traditionally has not cared about Captain America in the slightest, that picture offends me.
That's it should.
It offends my eyes. Well, we'll get back to super chats here, but speaking of comic books and Gay Pride Month, that's probably a perfect place to bounce into this bit. Now, Michael, I was aware of this. I've heard a little bit about it, but you brought it to our attention again or at least Andre's attention this morning. About the whole Gay Pride Month over at Star Wars and how they're doubling down on Pando Clarician and all that business. So what am I looking at here?
My understanding is that Lucasfilm has taken the creative direction of Kasdan, and they've decided that as part of Gay Pride Month in the Star Wars comics, they're going to do a series of covers that feature what Lucasfilm Disney defines as LGBTQ plus Star Wars characters. And one of the characters that they've decided to feature on one of these covers is Lando Calrissian, which takes Jonathan Kasdan's concept for the character from Solo and tripled down on it. And I saw that in the news, in my news feed on Google like a day or two ago. And I was trying to dig into it a little bit and figure out why they were taking a legacy character like that, which, you know, wasn't performed that way with that concept and just imposing these kind of things on. They've already got, see, here's the thing that drives me nuts. They've already got original characters that they've created like Captain Afra from the get-go that have that own identity. So why aren't they leaning on those? Like, why are they trying to retcon other characters? It just doesn't, it's weird. It's very strange. And then on top of that, the other problem, what you guys were so expertly talking about a month ago with the whole High Republic Into the Dark thing with Leox Gyasi, where you're going, okay, this character description, it's over indexing on
the sexuality,
the sexual identity, when what Star Wars is supposed to be. Everybody can be in Star Wars what they are. I'm not saying that sexual diversity should be removed from Star Wars at all. What I'm saying is characters in Star Wars, their focus in the mythology is not on what their sexual identity is. Their focus is on the story, the narrative, the problem, the big.
We're talking about a galaxy that has never even shown anybody go to the bathroom before,
exactly,
outside of Jar Jar stepping in the poopy.
Right, exactly. So anything that happens relationship-wise happens just tangentially in the narrative. So like I said, if you want a gay character in there and you find out, at some point in the series or whatever that new Star Wars character happens to be gay, that's totally fine. But don't give me his character description or her character description as, this is a new Star Wars character named, such and such. And by the way, they're gay. I mean, like, they're really gay. Hey, everybody, just notice that this guy's really gay. And it's like, why is that going to interest anybody to listen to this story?
Exactly. I mean, unless it's a part of the plot, it makes no sense. Because, like, my whole thing with before is I said, we only know of sex that's happened in the Star Wars universe maybe 2 or 3, 4 times tops.
Right.
Because we know that the twins were born. We know that, eventually Han and Leia had kids, obviously, whether you want to accept one EU or the other. And I'm pretty sure Jabba fucked one of those dancing ladies. And of course, I don't know what they're talking about LGBTQ representation for when they've had gay robots this whole time. So, I mean, yeah, those last 2 things were jokes, folks.
Yeah, but it doesn't count unless they're explicitly identified as that.
I know, and that's
bringing back to like Leox Giassi. It was like hilarious when you read like the character description, because as we pointed out, imagine if you had like characters
like
glass on the toys of when Luke Skywalker was first like introduced. Like, Michael, imagine you pick up like the original Kenner toy line. Is that what it was? Was it Kenner?
Yeah, Kenner.
Yeah. That you got like the original Kenner toy of Luke Skywalker, and then it said on it, Luke Skywalker is a virgin, therefore he is not entirely quite sure what his sexual identity is. He may swing both ways.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's a farm boy.
I think you called it sexually ambiguous at the time, I think is what you said. Yeah.
It's completely
or non-binary.
It's completely out of place in a Star Wars in Star Wars as a franchise and a mythology to make that the focus of all the characterizations. The characters can be whatever the author believes them to be if they're created brand new. But you don't from the starting line make that the focus of the character. You just start telling the story about this guy's a pilot and he's found himself lost in space or whatever. This person over here is a refugee from Mandalore and blah, blah, blah. That's what matters in a Star Wars context. I was thinking about this when I was reading it, Andre. I couldn't help but think about, not just audiences, but in the case of Star Wars, it's general audiences. Like, Star Wars is a general audience property. And one of the first things I thought of when I was an adolescent and I was reading The Savage Sword of Conan all the time, because Conan was created as an adult pulp, novel character. He was never created as a general audience character. So, for example, if they were to write a Conan story today, and Conan goes into this city or whatever that he's never been to, wanders in from the wastelands like he always does, and in the city he encounters people of different sexual orientations, and that becomes an acute part of the plot for that story, it wouldn't actually jump out at me as being weird, because Conan is a much more mature, audience-focused mythology, and there's all kinds of stuff going on in a Conan story that but in Star Wars it just doesn't track. I don't know. Maybe I'm making sense. Maybe I'm not. You guys keep me honest. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you absolutely make sense. But that's actually a really, really good point. You see, like, most of the pop culture that we celebrate today was created years and years ago. I don't know how much new can come in this day and this environment. I mean, just look at Star Wars and Marvel. You have like this Captain Commie. You have Leox Gyasi and his trusted companion, the Rock.
Yeah. Yeah, a rock.
Yeah, Geodes, I believe his name was.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I think I'll stick with Luke Skywalker. Thank you very much.
Yeah, until they retcon him too in this vein. They'll probably bring out a book at some point that says, you know, and it'll be in the children's section of Target. It'll say, look, all the sexual identities canonized for all the characters of Star Wars, a visual guide. Like it'll just be like this DK book or something. It'll be crazy.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
No, and they'll end up making Luke gay because they managed to keep him, you know, completely away from any women through the entire thing, and they'll just retcon the whole idea of him being attracted to Leia.
Yeah, well, that's why they got rid of the Mara Jade subplot in the
exactly
universe. Yeah.
Now you know what I'm getting at, Michael. Yep. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Then that makes it so much easier for them to go, yep, he's gay.
That's the whole thing. I have no problem whatsoever with the Dr. Aphra character that they created and anything like that, meaning in terms of the diversity factor. But the diversity factor, like somebody said earlier in the comments, and it's flown by, but that shouldn't, that sexual diversity factor shouldn't be the focus, the laser focus, the microscopic focus of a Star Wars story. It never has been, and it never should be. So that's my issue. Yeah, they've lost the plot. Is my point. They've lost.
No, exactly, and that's just and you're. I think you're 100% right, Michael. Like going at it from an angle, it's like you're sitting down and going, okay, I'm going to tell a Star Wars story. First and foremost, I'm going to make characters. One's got to be black. One's got to be Asian. One's got to be this. One's got to be that. One's got to be gay. One's got to be cis. One's got to be blah. And that's how they're doing this shit. Instead of saying, look, I want to tell this kind of a story.
Yeah. Tom, I have to correct you. No one has to be cis. That's a bonus, but that's the one thing that you can't ignore.
I know. I threw that out there because I couldn't think of anything else.
Yeah.
Super straight.
You have to have everything else, but you don't have to have that.
They don't like that so I like throwing that in there. Yeah. But no, like this goes back to the whole making Lando Pando bullshit. Man, I'll tell you what, Lando is all about the pussy. Give me a fucking break. Because the moment Leia walks in the room, it's like, hello.
Well, that's why they're getting around it. That's why they're getting around it with the whole thing. And I think that's actually doubly insulting to the character of saying, well, he's like that with potentially everything. And it's like, what?
No. It's Billy D. fucking Williams for a reason.
Yeah. Well, they went with everyone and everything, animal, plant, or mineral.
I don't know about. See, that's not no, that's not Billy D. That's not Lando. Lando is suave and debonair because he loves the ladies. That's what makes him who, and that's why Han's like, hey, hands off, motherfucker, because he knows what Lando's all about. Like, right? You know?
Well, yeah, Lando is an immediate threat to Han's burgeoning relationship with Princess Leia, because he's not only is he suave and charismatic, but he's also successful, and he's also of her. Even though he started as a gambler, he has ascended in the economic caste system of the Star Wars galaxy to almost being her social equal. Whereas Han is still this scruffy looking, smuggler guy. So he's a threat on so many different levels. Yeah.
No, and I think that's a very interesting point to make. And not only that, they're overlooking the fact that, just 10 years ago, before that movie was made, they wouldn't have been able to have Billy D. Williams hitting on Carrie Fisher in the film.
Right.
They're overlooking that aspect of it as well.
Yeah, and his skin color never comes into play
exactly
with the story. It's just in Star Wars, he's the successful dude, and she's just immediately taken by him. She doesn't trust him, but she finds him intriguing from the get-go, and Han can tell. And Han's like, this is a threat to my relationship with her. I know Lando better than anybody. He'd probably steal my lady away from me if he could, So, I mean, Han stole his ship away from him. It's only turnabout's fair play. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as Stephanie Anisek Smuggler's Cantina points out, this really hurt Billy D. Williams, by the way. I haven't heard that myself, but I do trust that Stephanie Anisek knows that to be a fact, and I wouldn't be surprised. I know, just for a comparison, the actor who played the original Sulu in Star Trek, what's his name again?
George Takei.
Thank you. He was not at all appreciative when in Star Trek Beyond they retconned Sulu to have been gay all along. He did not like that one bit.
Yeah.
And I absolutely see that, because that kind of like was like insulting to him as an actor. Like, oh, you're gay, so now we're going to make your character gay too. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, because it's like, I'm gay, but the character I was asked to play was not, and so my performance was not forming that. I was doing a very specific performance, and now you guys have undercut all that work that I did with this retcon just to give me a personal salute. I remember when he said that stuff about that.
Yeah, and it's so true. And I feel like this is like much the same way, that it may be well intended, but honestly, I feel that it comes across as condescending in a way. It's like, oh, here's all the stuff that it's like, I don't know exactly who's going to appreciate this. Like, yeah, it's fine. I don't think anyone minds too much, but it's like very, very on the nose. And I don't know that it's going to bring any new people into Star Wars that weren't there before.
Yeah, that's always been my big issue with these kinds of strategies, whether it's something like this or whether it's something like, hey, we're going to change Superman, Batman's costumes and start the issue over at #1 to bring more people into the book. And it's like, that only works for maybe 6 months. And then you're back to where you started, because the people that you're trying to court into this hobby have never been a part of it and don't have a natural predilection to be a part of this hobby. And with this kind of thing, I want to be clear. I'm not saying that this kind of move is going to attract or not attract gay people to Star Wars. Gay people are already part of Star Wars fandom. It's whether or not you're a science fiction or space fantasy lover, gay or straight, that's going to determine, and whether or not you're a comic collector. And most people who aren't comic collectors can't be brought in that easily through these kinds of moves. The comic book industry is hurting anyway. So there's a whole bag of snakes there that they're trying to use gimmicks to get around, and it's not going to work.
Yeah. This entire thing is just silly, if you ask me. But what isn't silly, Andre, is that we have super chats to catch up on.
We do. And
I'm curious what people are saying. Like Randy here, who we can bring up on screen at least, says nothing is sacred in the name of progress. That's correct. Lando never showed an interest in anything that wasn't female-esque. That's correct. Even L3 was modeled after a female. As much as I hate to agree with you, that is also correct. Yeah, they just can't get past their own selves to just leave shit alone. And that's part of the whole appropriation. They yell at us or anybody else who remotely doesn't act a certain specific way, which is funny. But let's get into some other super chats and see what you guys have to say.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell was in Bruce
X-Files
Campbell
in Congo.
X-Files, that's what it was. Yeah, I just exactly can't see it. I see the X and then it stops there in my interface here. He says, how about a guillotine cut of the sequel trilogy? Yeah, that's actually something that really could be left on the cutting room floor now that we have the theatrical versions. Any more cuts is only a good thing. And Nitsevich says, of course, the air cut, just out of curiosity. And Tiberius Monk says, I enjoyed Guardians 1 and loved Guardians 2. I will reserve judgment until the Suicide Squad is released, but will give this film a chance. Hail. Absolutely. I'll give it a chance too. And I hope it's going to be fine, but I was underwhelmed by the trailer, I just have to say. And Gran Wazoo 42 sent us 20 euros. Thank you so much. Saying, just a tip for you to keep the lights on. Love your channels. Oh, thank you. We really, really appreciate that.
And some days we enjoy just the tip.
And House Atreides says, I'd rather see independent movies at this point instead of having an entire cinematic universe ruined by identity politics. On that note, yesterday we had a watch party of Tom Kunkel's Trouble Is My Business. Now that's a great movie. So if you haven't seen it, you should go check that out and then see the watch party afterwards to see exactly what into making it. There is great independent cinema out there. It did turn
more into like a commentary by the end of it, which is great. I mean, nothing wrong with that, but like, yeah.
No, that's fantastic.
I mean, he was very full of knowledge, and he came to the table totally ready to talk about everything. Like right off the bat, he's just like, in this scene, and that's how we shot this, and this is how we did that. And it's just like, just full of great stories for the whole show. So it was great.
I've been really curious about that movie. I really want to see that film.
It was really well done, especially considering if you know what little they had to work with, and then the attention to detail that went into it.
So that's absolutely a movie that's worth watching. So do check that out.
And the black and white version is available for free right now on Amazon Prime if you have Amazon Prime. So there you go.
And that is the version to see. Never mind the colored version. That's something that they made because they had to. Black and white is how you want to see it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it seems that's the way to go.
I'll watch it today. Yeah.
Yeah. You can thank us later.
Especially if you're a noir fan, you'll definitely enjoy it.
Yeah. And Red Black Film says, with Suicide Squad continuing from the first, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Flash going forward as well, it's the easiest thing for WB just to say F it and continue the Snyderverse. Yeah, it would be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Well,
the only thing standing in the way is that they have like all this other safe and diverse stuff planned.
The only reason that it's a problem is because they have these characters being revamped in other places with the same actors. I think that's the main issue. And they're resistant because they don't want to adhere to this, what they see as a toxic subset of fans.
I think that's the bigger issue.
When really,
ego. There's nothing else.
Yeah, it's pure ego in there when they could clearly just have HBO Max, let Zack Snyder do his thing over there. He's already looking at a deal with Netflix. Somebody put that out there, whether it's true or not, for a reason. I mean, somebody in his camp is trying to create some kind of bidding war for him right now, and why not? We'll strike while the iron's hot. That's usually the way these things work. And I'm sure he would be just as happy to go over there and spend the next few years doing his DC shit over at Warner Brothers. Because if he doesn't, I wish he'd just fucking say it so his fans will just leave it be. I mean, because that's not fair to his fans to make them. I mean, yeah, he's been open and honest about the fact that, there is no plans, but he's also not saying, I don't want to. Like, that's the difference. Until he says, I don't want to, he's going to have a lot of very passionate fans, as he puts it, out there fighting for the Snyderverse to be continued. And as the title of this video says, it's becoming a thing. Like it hit like 1 million, I think, posts.
Yeah, it had a million retweets of hashtag continue the Snyderverse. And you know what that is? That's an audience. That's a proven audience right there.
Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they could give Zach the kind of money they were giving him before, but if they can kind of give him a way
with
of
the Mando tech that they're using now,
exactly.
You wouldn't need as much money as before.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, nowadays he could do that kind of. I think the bigger problem is just going to be getting certain actors back per se.
You know what? I think that they would come back for him,
but for Zach, they probably would. Yeah,
yeah. The director, like the actors. They all love Zack Snyder. All of them. Like,
the only one I could see being a problem would be Ben Affleck, but as long as he's interested in playing Batman that wouldn't be a problem.
Even he has said that he'd be willing to come back under the right circumstances.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because here's the problem. He's the one I could understand where if he's like, no, I'm done. because they treated him like shit. He got put in charge, even though he probably didn't really want to be, and then never really even got to do anything. They took his Batman movie away. The shit drove him to drinking again. Warner Brothers treated him like shit for his last 2 movies. I mean, I wouldn't blame the guy if he's just like, no, fuck you guys, I'm out. You know, because he's Ben Affleck. He could be making movies right now and doing other shit. And not even
he's not going to be working with Warner, but he could be working with AT&T and Zack Snyder. Remember, he came back for reshoots. He got fit for them.
Oh no, I totally understand, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but it's money and pride. Because his Live by Night movie, Warner Brothers totally snafu'd that motherfucker.
Oh yeah, and
then they took away his Batman movie. Yeah. So, I mean, you got a guy who's been basically run through the ringer by this studio. And you got a studio like, look, I agree with part of what AT&T is doing, but they're also destroying something that was sacred. Warner Brothers was like the last place where filmmakers could go and not have to worry about the Disney bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, that's why Nolan set up shop there. That's why, you know, Clint Eastwood has been there for fucking 70 years. That's why.
Honestly, I think that was going to disappear from there in any event.
It may have been that fact, but Warner Brothers has always been known as a very talent-friendly company, and they've always been, like, you know, the famous story of the shit all the hoops they went through just to make sure they were part of Interstellar.
I think that was going the way of the dogs anyway. Like, remember, look what they did with Ben Affleck. That was before AT&T. Warner did that. The super friendly.
Yeah, but I think that was more retaliation.
They were the ones that did that.
I think a lot of that was more retaliation over what was going on with DC at the time, because, I mean, Ben had done nothing but brought Warner Brothers Oscars and money between the movies that he had done so far. So, yeah, I don't know.
I think that was going by the wayside anyway. I really think so. That was changing. It was like that at one point in time. Nolan wouldn't have noticed anything just yet, but that was changing with or without AT&T. But yeah, moving on a little bit from there. Red Black Films says. Also says, so the fact that them not wanting to do it is super suspect and obvious an idiotic way to move forward. Again, referring to DC and how they why they stubbornly refuse. But it's all about ego, and yeah, it is idiotic. And Stephen Otten says, I'm convinced Affleck wrote Argo. Changed my mind.
Probably did.
Yeah, I probably did. Why would I change your mind? You probably did.
And that's one of the movies I'm talking about. Between Argo, The Town, what was his other one he did for Warner Brothers that was a pretty big hit? I'm trying to remember.
Gone Girl?
No, that was Fincher's movie, I think, over at a different company. But
okay, yeah. Well, I don't recall.
He did another one too besides that, and then it was the By Night movie or whatever. They
Live by Night or something?
Yeah, that was the one that they really snafu'd on him.
Yeah.
And then you got to look at it this way. They took away a lot of good years of his prime years. Like, just dealing with this fucking bullshit. And that's probably what drove him to drinking. Was Gone Baby Gone in Warner Brothers film? I don't know if he had anything more to do with that other than just being in it, though. So I thought that was Fox, yeah.
But,
The Accountant, was that the other one?
May have been. I don't recall.
Yeah, I haven't.
Or The City or something.
Yeah, I haven't kept up with
The Town, I mentioned that one.
Oh, yeah, The Town. That was one, yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned that one.
Anyway, be it matter, he has history with them and didn't work out too well in the end.
No.
And then Nietzevich says, Rob sounds sleepy. Wait, I wake him. Donner's Superman sucks.
Oh, well, he's not here to hear that now, unfortunately. Sorry about that.
Yeah. But at least he woke up anyway. And then Pleb Gamer Aaron G says, I can't believe they cast a South Asian guy to play Constantine. I thought we're all about appropriation. I'm Southeast Asian, and I'm offended. Top kick. So Yeah, there you go. As long as JJ gets to virtue signal and make his 25% different version of the character, then he's happy.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just hope for better from the Netflix Sandman series, because until otherwise is proven, I do believe that that the guy from Kingsman has been cast as Constantine there, and he's perfect for it. So I hope that is true. And KitKat says for £20, thank you so much. AT&T is a normal company which employs normal people, dealing with a self-destructive business entity like Warner's. They must feel as though they've landed on another planet. AT&T are just getting their heads around this. Yeah, that's what I believe too. They don't know what they're dealing with. They just came into the film industry and they don't know what's going on. I think there's a big aspect to that. And Troy Pazelli says, just a fan note to say, I love retro blasting. Now that I think of it, I should really do this on a retro blasting live stream. Actually, you should do it right here, and we appreciate that. And we're so glad to have Michael here.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Your thoughts. Would you like to see Ben Affleck return for more Batman? Well, and what did you think about the Snyder Cut? If you've seen it, we forgot to ask about that, come to think of it.
Well, I have HBO Max. I have not sat down to watch the Snyder Cut yet, but full disclosure, I was not a fan of Snyder's take on the DC universe from Man of Steel. I saw that in the theater, and I said,
that's fine. Neither is Tom.
Yeah, I was like, I don't like this. This was a slog to get through. I did end up somehow, Melinda and I sat down a few years ago on streaming and watched the Whedon Justice League for some sort of streaming purpose. I don't remember if she was going to be on a podcast or I was going to be on a stream. It might have been on Clobbering Times. I can't remember. But we sat down to watch it, and I was like, well, I knew that it had vestiges of the Snyder stuff in it from Batman versus Superman and everything else. And I said, yeah, Whedon can't put lipstick on this pig and say it's pretty. So this is no good. And then when the Snyder Cut was announced, I said, well, that's great for the people that love his stuff, but I've already mentally checked out of this entire direction for the franchise. I did see Wonder Woman, the original. That was okay. I didn't hate it. I did not like David Ayer's original Suicide Squad. Didn't like that movie at all. So yeah,
no one does.
Yeah. The DC universe is it's a mess. And so I've heard that I listened to the entire World Class Bullshitters 3.5 hour stream about the Snyder Cut. And while I won't give away any spoilers here to anyone in the chat, the general statement that I felt reflected everybody on that stream was, yes, it's a different option, but it's not a different movie. They said that there are parts of it that are extended, parts of it that are, different machinations, but the general plot is still the same plot
for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part. And so
the execution is wildly different, though.
Yes, execution, yes, absolutely. But they were saying that it's not the completely different narrative of a movie that people were claiming it was back when they were so dissatisfied with the theatrical. There were statements online acting like it was a completely different movie with a different story and everything. And it's like, not really.
I ran into some people where they were like, oh, he's not even going to use the same shots or this, Joss Whedon reshot it all. I'm like, well, that can't be the case. And then again, like Andre said, it is completely executed completely different and all that kind of stuff. And the tone is much different. And, of course, there's completely different sequences within stuff that was used. But there's also situations like that Mahler has been pointing out on his Twitter, like he'll have the side-by-side comparisons. And in some bits, it's really just what Joss managed to cut down to 20 seconds. It took Zach a minute and a half to do.
Yeah.
In the same exact sequence.
Yeah. And I've seen all the jokes about how if the slow motion was just normal speed, this movie would be over in like.
Well, actually, somebody mathematically went through it all, and the movie's 24%.
Wow.
Slow-mo. Yeah.
Wow.
I think it was 10.7 or something. Or was it? I think it was
10%, and then 24
minutes.
minutes. Yeah, 24. Yeah. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, I correct myself.
Holy crap. See, that's a guy who's stylistically up his own ass. And that's one of my biggest problems with Snyder, is that he seems to put style before substance. And I know there's a lot of directors out there that seem to be like that. And then there's directors where the substance, I don't like their substance. I don't like their substance or their style. Ryan Johnson. But in the case of Snyder, okay. Melinda and I were sitting in the movie theater years ago waiting for the theater to let out so we could go in to see something. I don't remember what it was. And they had these monitors playing in the lobby, and the monitors were just playing new movie trailers. And I looked up and I saw these amazing visuals for this movie, but there was no sound on the monitors. You know, it's just like I was watching these visuals. I'm like, what is that? And it turned out to be the trailer for Sucker Punch. And I was like, oh, wow, that movie actually looks really visually interesting. And Melinda's like, yeah, that actually looks really cool. Well, then my first round of friends got to the theater to see it, you know, and they came reporting back saying, this movie's a stinkerama. Don't go see it. Don't go see it. And I'm like, oh, you know, eventually I did see it, you know, not in the theater. And it was a big steaming pile. And that was disappointing because it was from the guy that did Watchmen, which for all of that movie's problems, Watchmen, I think, works the best of all the Snyder films that he's made. And I could rewatch that movie. That's what says something to me. If I can,
it lends itself most to his sentimentalities, or however you want to put it, or just talents.
Yeah, exactly. His
you know why? It already had the script, so Zack Snyder didn't have to oversee one so much,
right?
Because it's an adaptation of previous source material. Whereas Zack Snyder, who I hold in the exact same regard as Ridley Scott, he is someone that he's a great visualist, but he needs help with the story and lots of it. Same with 300. Story was already there, given by Frank Miller. If he has a story to adapt specifically, then he's going to be fine. If he has to mish and mash a little bit from different places and do some of his own stuff in there and everything, yeah, you want to give him a pretty strong producer to oversee that.
Yeah. And I completely agree with that assessment, barring the fact that I don't see Zack Snyder making a Blade Runner in his career or a director's cuts level Kingdom of Heaven in his career. I'm just not seeing it yet. So
maybe we just saw it. Maybe BVS and Justice League are just those two things.
Maybe. But wow, like what a low
BVS will be the underappreciated classic 30 years from now, and Justice League.
You know what? You shouldn't.
I know, but I just.
But if you look back, because I actually did that exercise, because I absolutely hated Batman v Superman in theaters. I couldn't stand it.
I still don't think the recut is that much better, Andre. But
okay. I do. I really think I see more what they were going for.
Here's my issue.
It's going to hold up better with time.
It's
not going to be like Avengers level, but that it can grow to get a fan base, kind of like what Blade Runner did. I'm not going to rule out that possibility.
But here's my thing, and this is why I keep saying this. All the stuff that's added and re-edited in the BBS extended cut or whatever hell, Ultimate Edition, whatever, is all shit I figured anyway watching the original version. It just adds more to it in a sense that, okay, I already figured that. The only thing I got out of that I didn't get out of just kind of deducing it myself was that one guy was Jimmy Olsen. And they don't really even tell us that in the movie. Like, that's still just kind of, I mean, it is there, but it's like, okay, whatever. It doesn't matter.
I think there's much more going on than just like a character on screen. But,
well, and then you got the whole thing with Batman that was a little bit more, but other than that, it still was stuff that was, I just had to kind of fill in myself watching the film. Because I watched it twice in theaters. Went to see it. They told us the 3D wasn't working and gave us free tickets. I'm like, well, I didn't notice it was so dark. My buddy's like, yeah, me neither. like, well, maybe it's like, did you hate it? I'm like, no, but it wasn't great. And he's like, well, we'll come back and watch it tomorrow. Maybe we're just whatever, you know. So we watched it again, and even worse of a reaction. Like, we got to the point where we wanted to walk out the second time because we knew where it was going, right? Like, we got to that point where we're just like, yeah, this is just it's that bad. And again, I knew the story, I understood it, and that's what always pissed me off about the fanboys who were just like, oh, it's just too good, it's just you don't understand it, and it's too smart for you. It's like, no, I understand it. It's just it's over bloated and it's stupid. The death of Superman shouldn't be in this movie.
Oh, no argument.
All this other kind of crap, you know. Like, again, I don't want to, you know, rehash all the things that are wrong with it, but yeah, it's just, you know, it's just, my point is it's still the same fucking movie, just like Justice League is still the same fucking movie. I mean, sure, this version's better. Sure, the extended cut's better, but to me, it's like, again, I'm in that boat, and I can't, and I've never been one to deny this, that I didn't like what Zack Snyder was doing. I was all for a change in the DCEU, but I also am one of those who's saying, no, they're overcorrecting way too fucking much. And Joss Whedon's Justice League was like the first example of that, where we just have the situation where all they're doing is overcorrecting now. And now it's gone to the extreme where you were just talking about, Andre, where it's more about filling this propaganda quota or whatever. And welcome, Paulie. How you doing?
Good morning. Doing well.
It still is technically morning, I think, where you're at.
Oh, yeah. It's 11 still. Sorry. Yeah, it's still morning. But good day. Good day to you guys.
Yeah. It's almost night where Andre is.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. Andre, it's like you know, it seems like with Andre, it's like it's always night.
Yeah, it is.
Well, time zones be like that.
And Paulie, I don't know if you've ever met Michael from Retro Blasting. Paulie, meet Michael. Michael, Paulie.
Hi, Paulie.
Hey.
Paulie has his own channel, Latino Slant, and he also helps us out over here on Midnight's Edge.
Awesome. Good deal.
Yes, I have watched your channel.
Oh, thank you very much.
I'm a fan, sir. So
I will make sure that I go watch your channel. And
does he take you to the past?
I will go over there right now in real time and subscribe.
That's what we do. Every guest of Midnight's Edge, you have to go subscribe to the Latinos.
Hey, but you know what? That's how we mutually support one another in this whole pop culture crusade. So
absolutely. And
Paulie does really great work with the Latino Slant.
Andale. Yeah, was listening in a little bit on Marginalized America. God awful drawings there, man. You know, I showed that to some of my really good friends who happen to be, you know, whether they're trans or LGBT, and they're like, I cannot stand that.
So did they not feel represented?
Of course,
it's opposite. You know, it's an opposite reaction. It's like embarrassing.
That's the same reaction I get from my friends too, and it's they say the same thing. They're so sick and tired of all this labeling, or where that's the most important part of a character, because it's like, you know, we fought for years and years and years against stereotypes, and for that not to be what defines us, and now all of a sudden it's, you know, recognize my label and, you know, define me by my sexuality, and it's just ridiculous, and it's polarizing, but inside the community itself.
Well, yeah, you know, was it here? I'm trying to remember where I told my really good friend, what was the other thing that was recently? Oh God, you know, you're kind of in a tornado because you can't.
Well, we've had the Captain America, we've had the Pando thing today that we were talking about.
I know what it was. It was the I'd finally shown her the Mortal Kombat, the new trailer.
Oh, okay.
And she's like, "Where's Johnny?" Right? That was like, how can you not have Mortal Kombat without Johnny?
Well, he's a toxic white male. That's how. That's
what I told her, and she's like, "Get out of here, man! You know, like, I don't care about that other stuff. I want Johnny. I want.
He's white, and he shouldn't be doing martial arts in the first place because that's cultural appropriation."
What?
Yeah, that's what they'll tell you. They're erasing anybody white, so watch out. You'll see.
If I can help it. But
you guys are probably
we're probably next.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I just broke that story. I was planning to go to sleep last night, but then I got sent a story on ABC's TV show called Maggie, and they recasted the lead from the script pilot of a Latina to a white woman, and so that's one thing which is kind of odd, but okay. Even though
especially in this day and age,
right, it was like okay, but then Yahoo runs the article, Entertainment Weekly runs the article, and they get taken down. They
Weird.
got yeah. So that's when someone sent me the piece, and I'm like, oh shoot, okay, I'm going live. Boom.
Well, there you go. That's kind of what we've been talking about. You do something original, and then what did they do? They went and whitewashed it before it was even.
Well, to me, it speaks to the Hollywood liberal being blinded by their own crusades. And where maybe your intention is true, but you don't know how to go about it, so you're like, well, I'll just write it myself.
Yeah.
I have to hire someone to make it authentic. I'm just going to recast it. That's what I'm going to do.
Well, not just that. It's not about. See, a new character doesn't bring attention to anything. Mm-hmm. That's the problem. That's why they won't create new characters. And I mean, we've said this a million times over, so I apologize for those who hear. But yeah, they have no idea how to, and so the easiest thing for them is to appropriate something else.
Well, it's like with the National Treasure. There was two parts of the story. One, Nick Cage is still doing his movie, the third movie.
They're still doing that? Okay.
That's but the way the story's written, it's the very last line of the article.
Yes, guys, I actually have some information on that.
Okay.
A source reached out to me. We're going to do a separate video about it, but Paulie, since you already brought it up. Yes, a source. I am not at liberty to disclose the source, and this obviously cannot be verified, so treat as rumor, yada, 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 all that jazz, yes? Basically, a source with excellent ties to the situation told me that the story that came out on it doesn't tell the full truth. It sounds like the wokest of woke series you can possibly have. And I'm not going to say that is not the case. However, there is much more to it than is in the story, because this is not a reboot. This is canon to the first three movies. Sorry, the first two movies.
The TV show
is a third. Yeah, the TV show. This TV show starring the what's called the Dreamer and all the
Latina Dreamer and her diverse.
Yeah, exactly.
Her diverse.
All of that. Yeah. It's all canon to the first two movies. Not only that, it will cross over with the in development third movie featuring Nicolas Cage. Also, in the series, there will be appearances from the actors that were in the first two and the third movie. Because again, it's the same continuity. There's a bigger story. And one of the inspirations behind this is Cobra Kai. So they're going to try to Cobra Kai it.
Well, that's a little different.
Yeah, and that's something that doesn't appear in that story, but basically that's kind of like what. For me, I'm not going to touch the politics of her being a dreamer or the diverse friends right now. I find that a little problematic. But what I found really problematic is that the original writers, right? They're reimagining this. And like I said, it's, they're being blinded by their own. But it's not a reimagining, because that's how it was portrayed. But it's actually a continuation of the story.
Okay, well then, either way, we don't get. See, the problem is that we don't get great new stories, and you're putting in new people of different backgrounds, because it's the same writers or it's the same creative people in the creative room just, retelling or redoing something. Cobra Kai is an anomaly at this point. What I wanted to see in that story is a Latino writer, maybe a showrunner or a director. That to me says that they're serious about creating something original and fresh. That was my take on the story. That was my take because what happens is that when you have that person in there, you have a voice, even if it's just one. At least there's a voice, and same thing with that Maggie. There was no voice. So it's like, oh, okay, I have no one to answer to. I'm just going to change it. So yeah, that's my little take on it. But yeah, that's more information now that's interesting.
Michael, did you hear about the National Treasure series news?
I saw the first 2 in the theater. I'm a big adventure movie guy, Indiana Jones, Tomb Raider, all that kind of stuff. But I did not hear about the 3rd movie even being a thing. To me, this is genuine news to me. I'm actually shocked, just kind of in rapt attention listening to this, because I thought that Nick Cage had descended into, cinematic obscurity and just being in weird films from now on, like weird indie movies and stuff. I had no idea that National Treasure 3 was even a possibility. So.
It's in development. Not only that, there's the spin-off series, which is what we were talking about. But like the way that it was framed, it sounds like a complete woke-it-on reboot series. But that framing in the announcement was misleading. Again, politics aside, because basically it's all. It seems very forced in the description. You had like all the keywords in there. You had Latin American, you had dreamer and illegal, and there was nothing from the description they put out there to indicate there was anything National Treasure about it whatsoever, beyond the fact that it was created by the same guys who did the first 2 movies.
Well, it sounds like they're trying to succeed at their pitch with the powers that be. It sounds like they've run the laundry list, and they've gone, we really need to have these elements in there and this and this to ensure a green light, and to ensure that the studio's going to back us up. And that's the game. Corporate Hollywood is like any other corporate culture. You either step in line and play that game and give up your entire personality, or you don't work there. So National Treasure, having gone down that route to get a third film, it's not surprising to me in this day and age. It's not. I'm more surprised that National Treasure is getting a 3rd movie at all. So,
it was way overdue, because like the second one kind of ended on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, those were fun. Those movies were fun.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I saw the first one, and I absolutely loved it, and I was still reeling from the disappointment of the Da Vinci Code movie.
Uh-huh.
And I was like thinking, this is what the Da Vinci Code should have been.
Yeah. The Da Vinci Code was real vanilla paste. Like it was. Yeah.
It was Ron Howard.
Yep.
and he and Tom Hanks, they are great, but they were the wrong fit for that movie.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah, it's funny too. You mentioned Nick Cage's career. I mean, he just did a movie called Jiu-Jitsu where he doesn't do any jiu-jitsu. Such an odd performance.
Yeah, he's like the A-grade version of Michael Madsen at this point. Like,
yeah, that's great.
What are we talking about here? He's like, well, I used to be a respected actor, and now I'm in all of Huey Bowles movies, and Nick Cage is doing the same thing. He's like, whoa, I could do that too. And here we go.
So, yeah.
Now more of a series protector. The real question is, what kind of haircut is he going to have in part 3? I think that's what everybody's thinking about.
Well, just like, I wasn't aware that there was any fuel left in the tank that was the National Treasure series. Is there any fuel left in the tank that is Nicolas Cage's hair follicles? Is there anything left at this point?
I'm watching that second movie, and I'm like, some looks weird of Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
And it took me about 20 minutes to realize, Motherfucker don't have no sideburns. Like, not does he not only have no sideburns, like he shaved that shit all the way, way up. Like, no, but what the fuck? Who came up with that? Like, what the hell is he doing?
Yep.
He's not much of a sideburn protector, that's for sure.
No sideburns and a lot of spray hair up there, and a lot of hair dye that comes right down to the scalp line. Very unsettling. Very unsettling.
Yeah, I was trying to figure it out, and I finally did. I'm just like, oh my god.
But you know, the you know, there are jewel, you know, like these moments of clarity in those films where it's like, oh yeah, there he is. You know, like he has some great little acting moments.
In the first one, especially.
Like, no, I'm talking about jujitsu.
Oh, jujitsu, yeah.
I'm talking about Nicolas Cage now. You know, like there's still some moments of clarity where he is like,
Nicolas Cage now is like, did the check clear? All right, I'll be there.
Yeah, boys.
We could probably get him here for a couple $1,000.
Oh my god! But yeah, I don't know if I made myself clear, and I'm not in no way am I backtracking, but with the chat is that if you're going to do, you know, read, you know, anything that has to do with like let's bring in people of color into an IP, right? If Hollywood's going to do that, you know, do it correct and do it with a great story. Don't just do it where it's like, you know, well, they're going to be a dreamer and I'm going to write it. And, you know, because I know all about it. I read the articles. I'm just saying, you know, hire where it's important. Casting, show running, writing.
Yeah, I'm hoping that article is just a bunch of virtue signaling and, you know, the show's actually pretty good. So let's get caught up on some super chats, though. Huh?
Yeah, indeed. The next one is actually from a very good friend of ours, namely, just give me 1 second here, namely from, let's see, it's some little YouTube channel, Latino Slant.
Oh, nice. Cabron. Oh, man. That you know you're in when Andre makes fun of you.
Yeah. And Paulie, I believe his name is, from this little YouTube channel. He says, Rob, I'm trying to find something new to watch on Wednesday nights, but haven't had any luck. Can you recommend anything you might have seen, buddy? Oh, well, since Rob isn't here, I will recommend everyone watch, what was it, Illegal? What's it called?
Resident Alien.
Resident Alien.
Illegal Alien.
Yeah, I was about to say. Wait, it wasn't Illegal Alien. It was no Resident Alien. That's what it was.
Resident Alien. Wednesday nights at 10 p.m.
I should probably check that out myself, but I have a few things to catch up on first. Snyder Cut, for one. And Jace540 sent a Shades super sticker for Norwegian krona, 11 Norwegian krona, so 1000 takk. And Dash Des says, comics are like a favorite color. It's the favorite because that's what draws you. As soon as it's not exactly what you like, it's not the favorite anymore. And yeah, there's a good point to that. And Ron W says, did any of you see the new remastered Batman v Superman 4K? No. Sold out roughly the first day. I did not see that, but that makes me wonder, what was the print run? How many copies did they make? And the biggest question, remastered? What they did do different? The movie is just a couple of years old. We had 4K Blu-rays when it came out. I guess it was
recolor timed or something or other, and I think it got a Dolby Atmos soundtrack or something or other.
Recolored? How do they recolor it?
I don't know.
That sounds suspicious. Is it better or is it worse? What did they do? Anyone let me know in the chat.
From what I heard, there's nothing different about the movie itself. Just
no, I know that, but like, what did they do different with the colors? If you know, please let me know in the chat, because I have the original 4K release of the extended cut, and so what did they do different in this remaster? I don't see the point of remastering it. I mean, a movie that's released in 4K right now should never be remastered. It
probably was not 4K originally.
Yes, it was, and I have it right here to prove it.
No, I mean it's probably up convert.
Oh, okay. So this one is like suddenly native for
Maybe
4K, whereas the new
looks
one
of this,
was,
it might be the case.
Okay.
Possibly.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's got a Dolby Atmos track to it too. That's possibly why. Oh, I remember why. I know why this is different. The other reason is because it's got the IMAX scenes in it.
Oh, so it has like the changing aspect ratio.
Yes, that's what's different.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So that's it. So nothing really new then.
But
Just like
this
the
is
IMAX
also
scenes.
sourced from 4K, and without looking at the other one, I assume that might be part of the case.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I suppose there's that for those that enjoy shifting aspect ratios in the middle of the movie. Well, then I think I'll stick with the disc I already have.
Yeah.
And Nietzevich says for €5, if I could, I would send back T1000 to cut off a few of those SJW timelines. Yeah, it would be. Let's not even go there, but it would be interesting. And Hyena Fur says for $5. Writing a movie is different from making a movie. There's a long history of excellent scripts that were butchered by directors and producers. Oh, hell yeah, that's a long and sad story right there. If Script Doctor was here, I'm sure that he would be able to share some dreadful horror stories to that end.
Yeah, the OG one's 4K native and Dolby Atmos, so yeah, it's just the shifting aspect ratio. That's the only difference.
Okay, so shifting aspect ratio and nothing else in terms of image.
Shouldn't be.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, and also, yeah, but on that super chat, Michael, remind me, did you get to read the original Conan the Barbarian script, the pre-John Milius one?
No, I've never had the privilege.
I'll
read that.
Oh, I can hook you up with it.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I would love to do that.
The original Oliver Stone script.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I've heard, I remember that he was the original guy that was trying to develop the movie, but I've never had the privilege of reading his
He wasn't the original guy, but he was the first one to write the script that they that actually made the movie happen. And that's to like the super chat point of how things can change. That's a great example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Matt Joseph also says that the HDR color grading was redone for the new disc. Is that a visual change? Can you see that change in any way, or do you have to have like an 8K screen to see the difference?
No, it just depends on. I believe in the original was just regular HDR, so then this one probably has HDR10 and Dolby Vision on it.
Okay.
So it's just an upgrade in the HDR, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
And considering there's not much you can see in the movie in the first place, then
yeah. It's probably good with anything that can enhance the black levels.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then Pleb Gamer RNG says, if they keep doing what they're doing, comics will die. Look at the stores that sell comics and manga. Manga is top demand, while comics are untouched. Yeah, you are not wrong at all. He also says, Geode was introduced for non-binary representation. Changed my mind. Would dream of it because you're probably right.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Diego Flores says, what Michael is saying is how they did it for Shiro in the Voltron Dreamworks series, you get an idea in the later seasons. But finally, when the series ends and they show him getting married to a man, not forced at all.
Yeah, it's putting the narrative of the mythology first, the common problem for everybody. And yes, you will start to see relationships form between people, possibly if it's a well-written, trilogy or series or whatever it is throughout. But that's not ground zero for where the story starts. It's not like, hey, before we begin, let's define all of these characters in that way. It's like, why don't we just start telling the damn story, and then we can figure the rest of it out as we go along. Learn to write,
Always a good thing. And
Yeah.
Don't overcomplicate things either. Sometimes that's another thing to remember. Getting off of Snyder talk.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
or just in that article, back to the National Treasure. I mean, that was even those couple of sentences of what they wanted it to be. I'm like, oh God, it sounds so problematic. It sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Anyways,
they love to walk into minefields and then just clunkily, step on every explosive
It seemed like such a minefield. I'm surprised that they didn't in that article. I'm like surprised that it wasn't going to start at like one of the border cages or something like that. Like it was almost that level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
And I know a lot has to like Tom said, a lot has to do with as far as just the virtue writing from the publications.
Yeah. Moving on from there, then we have House Atreides, who says, I've started reading Ernest Cline's Ready Player 2. What are your guys' thoughts on the sequel? And what did you think of the first book and movie? Michael, your thoughts on Ready Player 1, movie and book, and the sequel?
I think the book is the superior of the two. I think that Spielberg was the wrong person to do this movie because he immediately said, even though this book was all about 80s Spielberg culture by and large, he turns around and says, I don't want to put my own stuff in it because it just feels weird. It's like, well, then maybe you should recuse yourself from doing this movie. But, oh, wait, you want to direct it because it's the new hot thing right now.
Yeah. He should have just been a producer to make it easier for them to get the rights to shit, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought that I saw the movie. It was actually somebody who's a huge fan of it, who's a Retroblasting supporter, sent it to me because he was that excited for me to watch it. And I had to kind of disappoint him by saying that the only thing about the movie that I actually liked was some of the conversations that were had between the corporate CEO of the future and the main character trying to stop him. Other than that, other than those messages that were in the movie about corporatocracy, I hated that movie. I thought it was just a worthless, useless experience. The book, I'm not big on Kevin Smith reference culture by and large, especially where we are now in pop culture. But the book, even for what it is the preferred method for reading that story.
Yeah. And then you have the other problem is it's referencing all this 80s material, yet all the versions of all the characters that we see are pretty much all the modern versions of them. So it's kind of off.
Yeah. They're all off. And then, of course, this is just me being really snarky at this point, but I don't care. I know it's a fantasy. I get that it's space fantasy, science fiction, whatever you want to call it. I get that it's cyberpunk, whatever. But within the first 10 seconds of that movie, the way they did the CGI, I was like, that DeLorean should be broken in half right now and all over the track. Like there is no way that car will survive that bump. Like, and Melinda looked over at me and she knows too. She's like, yeah, I was thinking that too. I'm like, yeah, I get that they're in a digital fantasy world and he can do whatever he wants, but it's really hard for me to separate from that. It's like, no, yeah. I'm an asshole. I know. Sorry.
No, you actually speak from a place of experience. Jealous I am.
Don't worry, Tom. One day we will both go for a ride. I promise.
One day I'll have my own DeLorean.
Oh, that too. That too. Even better.
No, man, you got to get a lowrider. Eh?
You know what I saw on the streets of Oslo last year?
What?
A DeLorean. I almost fell out.
Believe it or not, I saw one years ago, and I didn't. It was before cell phone cams, and I couldn't fucking believe it. Somebody had parked outside of the bank.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
But you're an American. There's supposed to be any in Norway.
Well, that's the thing. That's why I wanted to ask. Like, what did that owner have to do to that car in Norway to get it approved for? Being driven on roads at this point.
I have no freaking clue how that happened. I was just glad to be alive to witness it. Like, I never thought I would actually witness a DeLorean in real life.
Well, for
a
what it's
total,
worth, Andre, I've only seen like 3 in my entire life, so
I'm gonna change total announcement here. I've just got my 2 tickets to see La Bamba this Sunday at the AMC Century City.
What?
Yeah, as presented by TCM.
What?
Yeah. Yep. I sent you the link, bro.
What?
I sent you the link.
I don't read what people send me.
Oh, thanks. Wow. Okay. It's the Midnight Sense first. I've been dogged by Andre and Tom in the same stream.
Well, then you're truly part of the team.
That's why, because I read tweets
Twitter in front of retro blasting, nonetheless.
Oh, you didn't send it to me in my DMs.
No, I emailed it to you and Robert Meyer Burnett.
Oh, where?
And I just invited Robert again this morning.
Oh, my fucking emails just pile up, dude.
It's some anniversary showing, but it's in the theater. That's just amazing. So I just bought 2 tickets.
Oh, I want to see. We're probably nowhere near me. You know how much that freaking Blu-ray is to get your hands on?
No.
Oh, La Bamba?
A lot.
Wow, really? I'm looking at it.
Because it was a limited release.
Oh man, so it was like Twilight time or something.
Yep. And then you can get the import if you got a region-free Blu-ray player, but
which I have 2 of those. So
yeah, the only downside is though it doesn't have the isolated soundtrack. Which, if you don't give a shit about that, then yeah, whatever.
Right. Oh yeah, in Canada you can get it Region B for $17.
Yeah, if you got a region-free player, you're good to go. I got both versions, but
nice.
I will say that the American version does have a little bit better picture.
And yeah, look at this, $225 for this Blu-ray.
Oh,
holy crap!
Yeah, it's because there was only like I think 1,500 or 2,000 produced, and that was it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've actually got one.
Wow. Well, you got it on a good deal then, man.
Not really, but I paid more than I wanted to, but not that much.
Yeah.
I actually paid maybe half that, actually less than half that, but yeah. No, I got it a while ago when it was out, but it was like shit, I just missed it. And then luckily I got it when it was not on crazy prices, but
yeah. Still though.
I'm happy we're going to the theater. To a movie theater.
Which I probably should have just waited because I think that was on. I don't know if anybody besides me did it, but when God, I don't know if they even had these over in Norway or not, Andre. But Sony, instead of releasing them to stores, they did a special box set of some of their most prestigious films in 4K. And so it's like a 6-pack of films, and it's in this really nice box set. And they're doing another one, and they had people vote on what they want next, and La Bamba was in that list.
Okay. Oh, there was no such vote. We don't get a vote here. We get of Europe. That's what we get.
So the next set of 6 from Colombia is going to include La Bamba in 4K.
It might. It was one of the ones you could vote on. I don't know if it got voted in or not.
Yeah.
And then there was another bunch of them that I'm sure will get 4K releases that were just asking, and because Karate Kid 2 was one of them, and I know that had to get a 4K scan for Cobra Kai season 3.
Right.
The only La Bamba we can. I just checked. Only La Bamba we can get in Norway is the UK import of the Blu-ray, regular Blu-ray.
Yeah, which is probably the region B.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it has not really been released a lot. I mean, I have the old DVD from back in the day, which isn't horrible. It's actually a decent DVD, but I mean, yeah, that Blu-ray was just, it was kind of came and went. And like we learned on our Blood In, Blood Out reunion, sadly, that is still the highest grossing Latino film, believe it or not.
Yep. Which
is fucking sad because it's over 30 years old. I mean, yeah, the movie made a lot of money, but it didn't make that much money to where it shouldn't have been easy to beat. That's the where Taylor's coming from, Taylor Hackford. Yeah.
Don't get me started.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. There should be. I mean, even like he brought up, even Selena, you would have think would have outgrossed it, but no, it actually didn't.
Well, Selena had that weekend, the opening weekend, it went up against Private Parts. Like it had, like some tough.
Private Parts didn't really do that well, but what also was in the theaters at the same time? You don't know if you remember the Star Wars trilogy special edition.
Was it really?
Yes, because Private Parts pushed Return of the Jedi off a week and pissed me off because I wanted to go see all 3 films in one day. And I was like, oh shit, by the time we get to Return of the Jedi, this theater's not going to have it. Because we had one of the smaller 6-theater multiplexes.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, sure. As soon as, a couple more movies come out, they ain't going to have it. So, no, I did not get to do that. That was one thing I did not get to do, was get to see all 3 movies in the theater at the same day. So,
where's my glasses at? Because speaking of the special edition, I'd gotten those movie theater premiere tickets to the Man Chinese for each one of the special edition. Because they came out in the theaters, right? Like a couple months apart.
Oh, the special editions? No, they came out 1 week after the other, except for Return of the Jedi. That's
okay. Well,
yeah, they pushed Return of the Jedi off a week just so it wouldn't compete with Private Parts, which is stupid. I don't know why.
I got here Return of the Jedi special edition, opening day, March 7th, 1997.
Oh, nice.
And Mark Hamill gave these out to everyone at the theater.
Yeah, you can. The original trailer. The original trailer is actually wrong, because if you watch it, it says they come out 1 week after the other, when they actually had to push Return of the Jedi back a week.
Yeah,
I don't know why they did that for Howard Stern, but they did.
I don't know if Retro has any of that stuff from that opening weekend.
They, I was supposed to get the Jedi figure since I was first in line for all those. Unfortunately,
where were you in LA or where in line?
I was in Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
But unfortunately, our theater didn't get the figures, they say. So
neither did mine, nor did we get the poster.
Yeah,
they so they gave you a whole bunch of goodies, like the poster, the gold, like the gold, the tickets,
We didn't get shit.
This was the poster.
Yeah, I didn't get anything like that. They were supposed to give us stuff, and we got jack.
Let me tell you,
the
few times that I have gotten anything from the theaters, I've had to say something, and then they'll usually go through 10 people before they find a box in an office somewhere, and they're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, we're supposed to give these out." Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what else they had. That I think everything else that they had gotten that part of the ticket. Like when you walk in, they give you a bag of goodies, and Hamill was there.
That's cool.
I think all the other stuff I had sold.
No, but the one that really pissed me off was, speaking of Star Wars, they were doing, when they did Phantom Menace, they had the special 3D glasses that came with it when they did the 3D version. But they weren't giving them away on the midnight showing, only the first showing the next day. I'm like, well, that's bullshit.
Yeah, that's a joke. The midnight people should be the ones getting
I was like, and you can't crack them open or nothing. And they're like, no, we don't have them here. I'm like, oh, you're fucking liars.
Oh God, the most disappointing. What's your most disappointing midnight premiere screening?
Many of those. Now you're gonna have to specify. Do you mean because of something technical that happened, or something because the movie sucked?
No, because the movie sucked. Technical.
Probably
that's
BBS.
That
between Man of Steel and BBS, probably, sadly. Because just Man of Steel, because my girlfriend's kid at the time, I was all jazzed up about taking the kid to a Superman movie, and he got scared and we had to leave. We didn't get through the first 5 minutes. We had to come back the next day. And BBS, just because it was just depressing. I mean, it was just, I don't know.
How about you, Retro?
Well, my most disappointing midnight showing was the one time I went to a midnight showing, and then I never did one again. And that was the Phantom Menace.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was there. I was ready to go, and I walked out of that theater and numbly walked across the parking lot into a Waffle House at 1 a.m. or 3 a.m. or whatever it was. And I just sat there going, what did I just watch? And I didn't even care that everybody who's in a Waffle House at 3 a.m. was looking over at this kid I was like in my 20s, sitting there with a Luke Skywalker costume on, just totally crushed. And I said, you know what? There's 2 things I'm never doing again. I'm never going to a midnight showing, and I'm never wearing a costume to a movie again.
Ouch.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Simon Park go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, because they were showing footage from all over Atlanta at all the theaters before I left, showing all the people in costume. And I happened to pick the one theater that had nobody in costume except me. So I walked in and everybody looked at me like, who's the freak? And I'm like, I hate my life. So it was a Charlie Brown moment to end all Charlie Brown moments.
And Simon Parkin says the Last Jedi. The thing with the Last Jedi was when I walked out, I was more confused than anything.
There was confusion at the Waffle House over Phantom Menace that slowly, as I slept on it and then got up the next day, became anger. But I didn't walk out euphoric or didn't walk out saying, what a solid film. I walked out going, what did I just watch?
You know, the Phantom Menace kind of tricks you as you walked out, because like I watched, I think 3 times in theater and I fell asleep the 3rd time. And that's when I knew, I'm like, yeah, this is not working.
Yeah.
It's that climax that gets you. Because because if it wasn't for that climax to leave you when you leave the theater, that's why I think people were so stoked.
Yeah. He said he saved the adrenaline high for the last 2 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But dude, my full confession, I've already said this on live streams before. I was so confused by that movie, thinking I must have missed something. I went back and saw that movie that summer another 13 times.
Wow. Which one?
Phantom Menace.
Oh,
and
Phantom.
It got worse and more boring every time.
How did you go that many times, man?
Yeah.
Because I held the torch for Star Wars. Yeah, denial. It was denial,
I guess,
Andre.
man.
And that was the
try to convince yourself you have to find something to like in here, and you did, and you like. I didn't find anything this time either. Okay, maybe next time I'll find something to convince myself this is good.
Yeah, and people always ask me, they're like, Michael, how can you be so cold and harsh towards all these new movies? Aren't you jazzed? The new Star Wars? I'm like, do you understand? All that got killed, and objectivity was the only thing left after that experience. I was never going to be emotionally seduced by another movie again. Like I was gonna,
I think my thing was, I was like, okay, I'll let the first one slide, but 2 and 3 got to be much better. And then 2 really let me down, but then 3 kind of picked it back up. But by the time 3 came out, me and like one other person were the only ones in the midnight showing. That's how.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. 2, I saw an opening weekend while I was living in LA at the Chinese Theater, and it was like packed Saturday afternoon, and it was so bad that I walked out, and I didn't even see it opening day. It was opening weekend, but not opening day. And my friend looked over at me and said, well, what do you think? And I said, Star Wars is dead. And I just walked to my car. And I'd
give anything just to go back to that, though.
I know, right? Right?
Yeah, and with that, gentlemen, we were in the middle of another super chat.
Well, you didn't answer, Andre, and neither did Latino Slam. But
yeah, okay. You mean worst midnight screening? I haven't been to that many, and the ones that I went to weren't bad. A single one of them. All the movies that I went to at midnight, the few were actually good ones that I really enjoyed. The closest one in my case is actually also the Phantom Menace. And I say the closest one because I didn't actually see it at midnight. Because like when this thing came, it was like this kind of like event. So they had like showings almost 24 hours a day. They started like the midnight screening, that was sold out. The 3 a.m. in the morning screening, that was also sold out. So I got tickets to the 6 a.m. in the morning screening. And as it happened, this was like when we had like the closing party at my high school or summer job or something like that. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was some kind of like closing party the night before. So it was me and a few friends. We were there at that party. We got drunk and we pulled an all-nighter. And then we were going to go straight to see the Phantom Menace at 6 o'clock in the morning the day after. I thought it was going to be fine. I thought, yeah, I can do a pull an all-nighter. I'll be able to focus during the... I was wrong. It was so difficult to stay conscious, and I felt that I fell asleep a couple of times in there. I almost had to like use my fingers to force my eyes open and everything like that. And when I came out of the movie, I was confused. Like, what the hell did I just watch? I was like, I'm stupid for having done this at this freaking early and after pulling an all-nighter. Like, I must have fallen asleep several times in there because there were like these leaps in logic. I had to try to remind myself everything that had to happen. So I decided, no, I have to go. I have to sleep up, and I have to go see the movie again. And then I did. And that's when I realized that there was nothing wrong with my attention. It was just a movie that was weird and dreamlike. And the times when I thought I must have fallen asleep, the movie just did weird gaps because it was just as confusing when I saw it wide awake.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the closest thing I've had to a bad midnight screening. Because all the midnight screens I've been to have been great ones, every single one. No, actually, I take that back. Van Helsing, because it was such a shit movie.
After that whole thing, then you say that.
Yeah, no, I just occurred to me.
Yeah,
it was so bad I even blotted it from my mind.
Well, I can't forget the anticipation and letdown of Matrix Reloaded, because that was a big deal at the time. Matrix had surpassed Phantom Menace that year as the best film of that year for me. Kind of came out of nowhere. And Phantom was that kind of like that retro blast, confusing letdown. But yeah, a couple years later, it was, I was there with a lot of coworkers at the time, and we did the midnight screen of Matrix Reloaded, and I'm surprised I stayed up. I mean, I was just like, I was so confusing, and it was just so lame.
I saw that movie in the theater. I'm trying to remember if I saw it in midnight screen.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine who actually had tickets to the midnight screening of Matrix Reloaded. So I'm just speaking on his behalf because I know that is his worst midnight movie experience.
Yep.
Because he got the tickets, he got them like 2 weeks in advance, and it's like sold out instantly, and he was like really gloating it, rubbing it in everyone's face, and he would like rub it in your face like every single day. Like, I got the tickets to the midnight screening of Matrix Reloaded. You all have to wait, but I'm gonna see it at the midnight screening.
Yeah.
And to make it worse, like this was like a premiere midnight screening, so it wasn't like you could go the day after. It was like a week until the regular showing would begin. So it was like this one screening or a week's waiting time. And that's why he was like really gloating and bragging that he got this. And then the day came, and then we asked him in the morning, so how was the movie? And he was like, what do you mean? It's tonight. And then we all looked at each other because he obviously had missed something. And they've changed this since, because later they say that they put like the ticket time 11:59 p.m. on the day that you have to leave. But at this time, midnight screening was 1 minute past midnight on the day after. So what he didn't realize was that in order to catch the midnight screening on Friday, he actually had to go to the theater on Thursday.
Oh, you subverted my expectations, Mr. M. Night Shyamalandre.
Yeah. So then he was like, well, what, you're joking? And he had the ticket on him, and then he realized that, oh shit, like that he had to leave yesterday. It had already been, and he missed it completely. So then he had to wait a week to see the movie like the rest of us. And when he saw it, he hated it. But just that, he had gloated to everyone, and everyone knew he missed it by a day.
I kind of like that twist there, because I was, we all were expecting the story to be, oh, he didn't like the movie, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's a good story.
Yeah, it's a good story.
Yeah, that's the problem with midnight screenings. And actually, there were many people that did that. And that's when they changed it. So, okay, midnight screenings, we're not going to put like 1 minute past so you get confused with the date. We're going to put it like 11:59 so you don't get confused with the date, and you have to actually go on the same day it says on the ticket.
All right, well, back to super chats.
Yes, back to super chats. And also, we were in the middle of the question before we got derailed there.
Yes, we did.
On Ready Player One. Tom, Ready Player One and Ready Player Two.
Haven't read the books, period. I'm kind of with Michael, though, on the film. It really didn't kind of live up to the hype surrounding it. I'm sure the book's better, which usually is the case. And yeah, that was kind of my biggest complaint. The music was fine and the idea was sound, but my issue was, okay, you're supposed to be paying homage to the 80s, yet all these versions of the characters are not the 80s versions for the most part, outside of a few. And it was like, that don't make no sense. But all right, whatever. But the story overall was just kind of really meh. Like, kind of felt like we've been there, done this before, even though it was kind of original-ish. I don't know how else to put it. Andre, what'd you think? Or Paulie, who wants to go first?
Yeah, Paulie, let's hear from you first.
Oh, I thought it sucked.
Oh, that was a real.
Well, I was being diplomatic about it, but yeah.
You know, stuff like that is like, I'm just gonna go see Back to the Future. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna go see the 80s films up there. I was just like, this sucks. And I didn't read the book, and I'm sure the book was great. So
it's like, I've already lived through all this. I don't need to see it in references and winks. I can just go watch all the stuff that was made when all this stuff was popular.
Correct. Yeah, because I am the 80s, so it's like, well, screw this.
I liked the idea and the concept, but it was just executed poorly, and there was no real, like, the whole idea of like the world being the way it was and how the games worked and all that kind of nonsense just felt way YA for me. Like, they could have found another way into this kind of world, I guess, without it being like, oh, you're playing for food and this, that, and the other, and and the world's just a bunch of why is every post-apocalyptic world why is every future post-apocalyptic practically? That's what I'm trying to say.
All right.
And in my case, I had never heard about the book until the movie came out. I understood from the coverage that it must be some kind of big deal and something I was supposed to be excited about. I saw the trailer. I thought it looked stupid as hell. I went to see the movie. I thought it was stupid as hell. Like, the only thing I enjoyed about it was like a He-Man showed up in it there somewhere. And that was pretty cool. Other than that, it was entertaining, but I've mostly forgotten it. And and the second book, don't even know of the first one. So yeah, hey, hope it's cool. But yeah, not for me.
I have been wanting to. I'm a click away from getting it now because I want something to read. Retro, did you read the book?
I have the book, yes, and yes, I've read it. Yeah.
You recommend it, or?
It's better than the movie, but it's only for it wasn't my bag because it's reference culture. It's still reference culture. It's a guy who's decided, hey, he's tapped into the cultural zeitgeist of having rose-colored glasses about retro stuff, and he's created a whole plot around it. And I know a lot of people love it. I'm not saying that it was. I understand why it was popular, but it wasn't my thing.
It's very YA.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Think like Hunger Games meets video games.
I got other things to read. Well, the Hunger Games books weren't bad.
Yeah, but it's not like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they should have
an original idea, though. They
should have come up with a much better motivation for the characters. Like, because the basic outline is, people are like into this game because the rest of the world sucks. So it's like, you're constantly in this game all the time, and the reason you're in the game is to play, to become, like, I don't know if you call it a pro gamer or whatever kind of thing, but it's the same kind of thing. But like, and like you got to find the little hidden treasures that the guy who created the game put in there. And if you get all the keys or whatever, then you can be the master of the game and you get all this shit and money and all this crap. It's kind of, yeah.
I have other things to read. I'm good.
Yeah. It's not, yeah.
I got the Conkle.
I've never read the book.
The Conkle Kindle.
Yeah, I've never read the book, but I can imagine that it's pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Same thing.
And moving on from there, We then have Mr. Tickletrunk, who says, for 10 Canadian dollars, thank you so much. Busy working, but poked my head in. I'm so glad activists are making LGBTQ people that we've already accepted as equals unpalpable to society again, just to ensure activist job security. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Randy Wackenfeld says, nothing is sacred in the name of progress.
Nope.
Lando never showed an interest in anything that wasn't female-esque.
Yeah.
Even L3 was modeled after a female. And on that note, this is a great one. HyperGyver2 says, I know Billy D through his son Corey, and I can confirm from personal conversations we've had that Billy D. Williams made Lando the ultimate ladies' man.
Well, why else would you hire?
I mean, how is that in question? How is
right?
I mean, Jesus Christ,
but that just emphasizes the point. Of course, it's obvious, but
you hire Billy D. Williams, and it wasn't because he was black so much as that he's just the ladies' man. He was at that time known as the ladies' man. You know, like
quoted as saying
it still is. I mean,
he loved Lando because he wasn't a black character. He had done 70s films of blaxploitation. It's like that's oh god.
No, he's just suave and debonair, and it has nothing to do with his race. And just Billy D. Williams was that, you know, as I used to joke about when we were talking about this originally, like half you motherfuckers listening right now exist because of Billy D. Williams, probably because your mama was watching TV and all of a sudden Billy D. Williams come on and said, Colt 45 works every time. And she's like, oh, that Billy D. Williams. Next thing you know, your mom and daddy was having some fun and you happened. Because Colt 45 got involved.
And now they get to listen to your song.
That's right.
Yeah, baby making music.
Exactly. And then we have Mr. Tickletrunk and Jack Hudson both sent us little doggy super stickers, so thanks for that. And Pilgrim Media says, please keep the snark out of our superhero movies.
It depends on what you mean by snark. I mean, I don't mind some humor from time to time, but I mean, if you're talking about what Joss Whedon did to the Justice League, yeah. I mean, again, going off of what I said earlier, a lot of people might have been like, oh, he's just saying it's the same movie. No, it is a different experience. I totally get that. A lot of the stupid shit that Joss added was, needlessly added, I should say, is a better way of putting it. Because a lot of it was like, he really got back together because it's just stupid. Some of the lines and shit that he added. So no, it's a much better experience. But snark is okay in the right places. Like, like the Guardians of the Galaxy, the snark works there.
And the right actors too. Like you don't want Brie Larson snark.
Well, that's why I'm not as worried about. I know that the trailer today for Suicide Squad was viewed as underwhelming by some people, but and they were saying that they saw too much Guardians of the Galaxy in it. Maybe that's true, but with all the stuff that's been coming out of Hollywood, lately, I'll take a Suicide Squad movie that might just be, entertaining. I'll give it a shot. It's fine by me.
Well, considering they tried to make the first movie Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, I know, what a mess.
You might as well just been like, hey, well, let's get the guy who made Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Yeah. So I'm just compartmentalizing it as. These are just 2-hour experiences that hopefully will entertain me and keep me awake. I don't want to have happen to me what happened to Andre during Phantom Menace, and then at that point, I'll just walk away and yeah.
You know what this HBO Max thing though kind of opens the door for? At least I'm not so worried about me spending the kind of money and shit I used to go into the theater, and then being disappointed.
Yeah, provided they don't start that model that Disney does, where they're like, if you want to see this new movie, pay $30 on top of your subscription. Which, again, everyone get rid of your Disney Plus subscription. Hobble that mouse. Hobble it.
Done. That's why going back to buying tickets for La Bamba, I'm so happy.
I know, and I'm so pissed because I just looked and it's nowhere near me. So you lucky bastard.
But you know what I mean, Retro? It's like if I'm gonna go, at least they're showing some great old films,
Yeah, true.
Yeah, great. There is that.
If you guys have not seen La Bamba, do yourself a favor. It's a great movie. You don't even need to know who Richie Valens is. It doesn't matter.
Who?
Exactly. You will know the story of Richie.
And Bob.
And Bob.
And then we have another very cool question from Mecha J, who asks for $10. Thank you so much. Today's news is that Marvel has dumped Diamond Comics as their distributor for Penguin Random House. How much does this affect the already struggling comic book industry? Michael, I want to hear your take on that first.
Diamond has had such a stranglehold on comics for so long. And I'll never forget how many people, in the 90s, especially going into the late 90s and into the 2000s, were starting to complain about Diamond's, monopoly on comics distribution. I talked to a lot of comic book store owners at that time who were in my area. And to me, anything that breaks a monopoly through competitive failure, you know what? This is on Diamond. DC and Marvel breaking away, yeah, they broke away too late, but then breaking away at all, the whole idea of too big to fail to me gets old. It's like I'm at an attitude now where it's like it's not too big to fail. It was too big to exist, and Diamond should never have been allowed to get where it ended up. Diamond needs a reality check, and hopefully this will be that reality.
I think the whole industry needs a
reality check. Sure. Yeah, for sure.
But no, you're right. And again, this is, I agree with you. This was a long time coming, probably, anyway.
Yeah, that's from my point of view. I honestly don't know too many ins and outs of that particular thing. What I do know is that Diamond was decided to have a complete and total chokehold on the industry. I think that was a horrible, horrible decision because, again, then you make someone too big to fail and you make everything completely reliant on that. So abandoning them in principle is a fantastic idea. What I don't know is what's the alternative and what are they planning instead? If they're going with Random House or something, I don't know. I need to do more research on it. But in principle, anything to break up the monopoly that Diamond had is a good thing.
It was Marvel that went away?
Yeah.
DC already did break away.
They did.
It depends on who Disney owns for a publishing company. I like what Tyler Root says here, though. Too big to fail, but too small to succeed. Yeah, I mean, and that's the same. I saw the same thing in the video. I remember when, video was the same problem. You only had basically 2 or 3 main distributors, and after a while, it only got to be one. And then what you have is a lack of competition, and you're stuck with only using one person to get your shit. And I'm surprised DC didn't break off sooner, because Warner, in that bringing that up, is, who owns DC. They were always independent of the distributors. So I'm surprised it took them this long to break away, to be honest with you. And then now that Marvel's done it, they're done. There's nothing. All that's left for them is the little companies, and unless they start distributing,
I'm sure IDW can save them.
Yeah, I doubt it. You really think they can, or are you being sarcastic?
I'm being sarcastic.
I was going to say, I couldn't tell.
I'm sure Image and
they'd be better off talking to EVS.
Yeah, they would. They would totally be better off talking to EVS and have him use their distribution. But I think he'd rather have his kid do it.
He's already got it done.
Yeah.
I think he just got a warehouse and shit for himself. So why the fuck would he need them?
Yeah, exactly. He's doing better than them.
Exactly. Cut out the middleman. And that's what they are, is basically a middleman, and they're useless. And that was the same problems, I'm sure, that we had with the video. And that was why I brought it up, was because you had basically what was, you're stuck through one person. There's no competition. So there's no way of getting better deals. And we know the kind of shady practices they were doing as far as the comic companies already, as it was, with forcing comic book stores to take X amount of certain comic books and stuff if they wanted something else, which to me is shady as shit, and it's just, they were basically just killing themselves anyway. Did you have anything to say about that at all, Paulie, or did you have anything to add, Michael? Or
no, not me.
Not me.
Yeah.
Well, then we move on to the next one, which is yes, STR Red Wolf says, hearing from Games Radar that Marvel is dropping Diamond from their comic distributor for Penguin House with DCRG.
For Penguin.
So yeah, that's so they're going with Penguin House instead. Well, then they're sorted. So yeah, carrying on from that. If they go with Penguin House, then they have an alternative in place, which I'm sure...
Which is probably a subsidiary of Disney already.
Yeah, exactly. And that's probably better off in any event than Diamond, that were just massively failing at all levels, weren't they? At least that was my impression. And then SJ Shady 0169 says, why is Jar Jar more valuable to Warner than Zack Snyder? Zack is infinitely more talented. He probably is, but by industry terms, you can argue to your board and to your friends in the cocktail party that J.J. Abrams is going to be the more successful one because of just like everything that he has his hands on, his connections to Disney, to Lucasfilm, all of that, just politically. And also in terms of like which cocktails parties you may be invited to, there's more door opened for the people involved at Warner with JJ than with Zack Snyder. That's a factor there too.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, aside from this Justice League, which is probably one of the biggest successes he's had, is only 300. Because if you stop and look at the rest of his films, even though Watchmen does have kind of a cult following now, when it came out, it was fucking hated by critics and it flopped. And every one of his DC movies failed to live up to expectations, and it actually can question whether or not they even made money outside if it wasn't for video. And all his other movies, aside from Dawn of the Dead, really haven't done anything because Sucker Punch, that I think flopped too. What was his other film? Because he's at this level now where if it wasn't for this Snyder Cut taken off the way it did, he'd probably be doing a lot lesser films than we even can imagine, because he really hasn't done anything to help his career.
No, that's why I feel like he's not a complete comparative to Ridley Scott in that sense. Like, yes, as far as his filmmaking philosophy, he's similar, but as far as
politically, he's not. In terms of relations in industry, no, can be further away.
Politically, and his track record for success is not.
300 is technically the only movie he's had that's been a success, besides Dawn of the Dead, maybe.
I just want to reinforce that, Andre, what you were saying about the way he goes at his storytelling is very similar, but it's his wins versus his losses that doesn't match up with Ridley. That's the thing.
Yeah, he's got a ways to go as well. I mean, but I see the early comparison with the careers, and especially the idea of that, because I made the original comparison where I said, yeah, they both have just as many extended and ultimate cuts of their films. That's for sure.
Right.
But he's just he's not at a place in his career right now where he can be seen as somebody like a J.J. Abrams, even though his films may be more likable by a general audience. Really, in the end, it's one of those things. It's just Hollywood politics, and not in the politics that we were talking about, but just the situation that he just hasn't had the luck of the draw as a director.
Not at all.
I mean, he's a great director overall. I'd give him. I even said it. I trust him with one of my most beloved franchises if they would give him the first 5 issues of Eastman and Laird's Black and White Ninja Turtles and say, here, make this into a movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'd be all on board.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it wasn't all CGI. I'd be like, the only stipulation is you got to use costumes. I mean, the rest of it, fine, but the turtles got to be costumes. Like that'd be my only.
Yeah, the turtles need to occupy physical space.
Exactly.
Yeah. As long as we don't see a second mouth within a mouth.
Which I'll even take that over some of the CGI crap any day.
Yeah, true.
Andre, anything to add to that, Paulie?
I got nothing.
All right, let's move on to the next super chat. Paulie has something to say.
No, I'm good.
Yeah. Then Taker 610 says Billy D's heart belongs to only one thing: Colt 45.
Works every time.
Yeah. And Pleb Gamer RNG says Flash was not the same in Zack Snyder's Justice League, though. In Justice League, he meant nothing. In the Snyder Cut, he has a heroic moment. Yeah, the characters were completely different. And then Patrick Mulligan sent us two back-to-back. First one saying, EFAP DCEU ranking from best to worst. Batman v Superman, Wonder Woman, Justice League 2017, Suicide Squad, Man of Steel, Wonder Woman 84. From liked to disliked, Justice League 2017, Wonder Woman 84, Batman v Superman, Wonder Woman, Suicide Squad, Man of Steel. Hope to see a crossover. And then EFAP DCEU villain ranking, pre-Snyder Cut, from least flawed to dysfunctional. Steppenwolf, Doomsday, Maxwell Lord, Lex Luthor, Ares, Sod. Thoughts? Well, I think everyone has their own ranking. Instead of like ranking everyone, like Michael, what's your favorite and least favorite DCEU movie so far, and villain? Just not the whole ranking, just your favorite and least favorite.
Yeah, my least favorite will be Man of Steel, hands down, because that set the tone for everything that kept me angry. My most favorite it's a toss-up between the original Wonder Woman and Shazam.
Shazam.
Yeah, it's hard for me to pick which one. That proportionally speaking, though, both of those movies I don't really have a burning desire to ever rewatch. I don't really think about them as, ooh, let me go rewatch this. So that, so yeah, Shazam or Wonder Woman, the original, probably the most watchable ones for me. So
I'm gonna echo Michael for the most part. Shazam is probably the best one, and probably a tie between Man of Steel and BVS for worst. I don't know.
Yeah.
Paulie?
Best DC film ever?
DCEU only.
DCEU, yeah. So
I can't do Batman 89.
No. So it'd be like everything from Man of Steel up till Justice League.
If Batman
excluding the Joker.
If Batman 89 was eligible for this discussion, this question, we'd have all said Batman.
I was going to say, yeah, we'd all be like, Batman 89, no problem.
Why is this? So that's why you're saying Shazam, because it's like the options are so awful.
Yeah.
The options they're all, I mean, you're like, okay, so literally it's a film. It's a film that hates itself. Like it's like the best and the worst film is.
I will argue Shazam was fun. All right. And if you take Shazam away from everything else, it's not a bad representation of what it was like initially, but
Shazam's the one you always forget that it's part of that. It is fun. I had a good time.
Well, that's
with
the
that
thing.
one.
Yeah. It's so tangentially attached to the DCEU that it's like barely attached to the DCEU.
Yeah.
But like, okay, so not counting that, like Justice League is like the same best and worst movie experience for me.
So you're talking like the Justice League is the worst, but the Snyder Cut is the best. Okay, gotcha. That's a fair assessment.
Out of those, I mean, shit. Wonder Woman 84 was awful.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
but I didn't finish watching it.
Well, for all its badness, I will give Wonder Woman 84 the that it did capture a little bit of the cartoon / 70s TV show feel in some spots, but that didn't fix the film. And Pedro Pascal being the best part of the movie doesn't help either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you just had to get that in there.
I did. I had to get a jab in there.
Yeah. All right,
Andre, I kind of know your answers are going to be, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, actually, I don't think you do. Best movie in the DCEU, I actually think it's going to be Aquaman.
Oh, really? No, I thought you'd pick like Man of Steel or BBS.
Yeah, no. Those would be like the shared number 2. But I had more fun watching Aquaman than I did either of those. But it was a tough competition. I do like Man of Steel, and I'm warming up to Batman v Superman. And worst one, that's the tough competition. I think I'm going to go with Wonder Woman 84 for the worst one.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
What's interesting is that it's much more interesting as far as like which one is really the worst. Like that's a stream within itself.
Right? No kidding. And then as far as villain, real quick, shit.
But I was just going to say real quick, all these films have great actors. It's like they're great Clark Kents. They're great.
For the most
right?
part, 90% of the actors are great.
But it's like, you know,
too bad there are such dumbasses behind the scenes.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like,
well, the two worst ones are the ones they could get rid of, and they haven't, or at least as far as we know, they haven't.
Yeah.
And that would be Ezra Miller and Miss Amber Turd. Just a reminder. The best villain so far, you guys are not going to believe this as far as I'm concerned, but it's either got to be Steppenwolf from the new Justice League, and even there, he's still kind of meh. I would go for what's her face, the whatever the hell her name was in Suicide Squad.
No, not that witch woman, the belly dancer.
Yeah, because she's at least entertaining.
Best villain? Are we doing best villain?
Yeah, at least she's entertaining.
Yeah, well, it's no wrong opinion. I
have nothing else to go on. Maybe Michael Shannon was great as Zod, but they fucked the character up so bad that I don't know. They just made him screamy guy.
As for me, I agree. I've only seen 1 hour of the Snyder Cut so far. I'm still at that first hour, but based on that, Steppenwolf.
Yeah, he's pretty good. And he's
yeah.
If I had to pick, I'd probably be
badass. And the worst one, I had completely forgotten about, like Belly Dancer, but yeah, she'd be pretty high up there.
She's pretty high.
Either her or Steppenwolf in Justice League.
Yeah,
Steppenwolf in Justice League. All he does is to cry for his mother. The whole thing. That was kind of like what made the Joss Whedon cuts retroactively so stupid, because you had like this whole Martha moment where they're both crying for their moms, which is really unforgivable. And then in the next movie, you then have the villain Steppenwolf, who does nothing but talk about and cry about mother the whole time. I mean, if you could like say mother box, but like no. Where is mother? And Jesus Christ, yeah.
And the worst one, even though we didn't say that right away, I'd have to go with the choosing what's his face for Lex Luthor. Even worse than Jared Leto.
Oh yeah, the Joker.
No, even worse than I'm talking as what's his name?
Jesse.
Yeah, he's playing the Joker. That's kind of like what he's doing.
No, that's more like, Riddler, but yeah.
Well, still.
He would be a great Riddler.
Yeah, he would.
He'd make a great Riddler, but and I thought that would be a great way to go with the Riddler. Is kind of more of a, what's his face that he played in the Facebook movie? I can't even think of his name now.
Oh, who cares?
The guy who made Facebook. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know.
Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah, I know, but the character he was playing.
Mark Zucker?
Yeah, Zucker. Yeah. Zuckerberg or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, next super chat.
Next super chat. That is.
Well, Michael didn't pick his favorite villain, though.
Michael, Michael.
I didn't get to pick.
And neither did Polly.
My favorite villain?
So far in the DCEU.
Zack Snyder.
Ouch!
Well, and Sarnoff is quickly getting up there.
I was going to say, wouldn't the studio or one of them be worse? But no, that's a good answer.
I agree with Andre, though, that Sarnoff is climbing the ranks.
I mean, after that,
how can you
top that? I mean, Michael Shannon. I love Michael Shannon. I have no problem with that. I mean, maybe like the first part of it, and then the Steppenwolf was pretty badass, though. Everything else was pretty much it's pretty bad. It's just they all suck, dude. Come on.
Yeah, and I'd hate to stick up for Joss Whedon, Grand Admiral Adam, but you can't fucking blame him for this shit. I mean, you really can't. It was Warner all the way. They're the ones who
they did everything. It's always Warner for everything.
I mean, he was just doing what they asked him to do, and that was make it more like Avengers. Yeah.
The same
and get it done by November.
I mean, the reason everything is so bad is also because Zack Snyder did what they told him to do. The failure of DC is really a failure in management. The whole thing throughout.
Oh yeah, it's a total failure of management, and part of that management, in my eyes, was going, why would you assign this guy who's so good at the Watchmen, Superman, and why would you then hand him the reins to all of this stuff right at the outset, and then turn around and go, oh, we probably shouldn't have done that? It's like Zack Snyder has his abilities, but being Kevin Feige is not one of them. They needed a completely. They threw all their chips in with this guy when what they should have done is just really concentrated on what movies to give him to do within the larger construct.
Ooh.
And
I'll say the more
I have some tortilla chips right now. I'm gonna go get some. Speaking of chips,
I'll say a controversial thing. If they were going to bring in Joss Whedon, they should have brought him in sooner and had Zach and him work together from the start.
Yeah,
and it would have balanced. It may not have worked, but it might have been able. If they would have found a way to work together, it probably would have balanced the dark and light a little better. But no, they're so different.
Yeah, wouldn't have worked.
I think Andre's right. It probably wouldn't have worked.
It's like the same thing. Like if you can't have like too many leading people and too many experts in the field together at once, because they're going to undercut each other.
Yeah, they're too strong of voices.
Yeah,
right. But if you have
voices,
if you have one guy or girl or whoever, I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to be the patriarchy or whatever, but if you have one person up there that's sort of leading the charge like a Kevin Feige, and then you say, all right, don't make me hungry.
Don't shit, man. That's mean.
Don't do that. But if you have
listen, no, the audience, the audience in the chat, the guys in the chat, they wanted to know what kind. 229 bag of santitas. And there's a light spice to it already, so you don't need salsa.
You know that Melinda is already now looking that up right now. She's already like, I got to figure out what that is. But my point is like, if you had like a Kevin Feige type that was leading the charge, right, and was figuring out how to map all this out, and then you had, okay, Zach, you're gonna start with our, Batman and/or other characters kind of thing over here, and then we get somebody like a Whedon or somebody doing the Superman and Wonder Woman side of things with Patty Jenkins over here. And slowly but surely, these things are going to connect in some big Avengers-like event. And like the possibilities are endless. You could say, well, the first thing we're gonna cross over on is, something like a Dark Knight Returns, and we're gonna let Zack Snyder do that so that he can have Superman in that movie that works to his strengths. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to bounce off that and do a Justice League thing, or vice versa. It doesn't matter. The point is that there was a way to balance these people's immense talents for the right projects, and DC just didn't do it. Warner Brothers totally dropped the ball on it.
No, I agree with you in a lot of that. And, I mean, even if they'd just, like you said, just had Joss do the Superman film first, maybe, and then at the same time, Zach doing a Batman movie, and you could have had all these things going on at the same time, and they could have still gelled in some way.
Exactly.
As long as you had somebody there, like you said, a Kevin Feige, to kind of just make sure everything's in tune. That's all that matters. And no, they fucked it up from the start. But I'm just glad that the fans finally got to at least see this story brought to a close the way it was meant to be. I mean, it took us how many years to get the Donner cut of Superman 2? At least they didn't have to fight that long, because there was people fighting for the Donner cut before the internet even existed. Like, it really ramped up with the internet, but like there was people writing in letters and shit for years to try and get the Donner cut released, and it finally happened. So I was a part of that, so I totally understand how people feel, even though I wasn't a big part of the whole Snyder cut movement. I do appreciate that those fans finally got to see it. I just I don't hold any hope going forward for the DCEU at all, especially if they start making like Joker sequels and crap. And I was kind of let down by this Suicide Squad trailer today. I mean, I'm glad to hear Michael enjoyed it, but
yeah, me too. It'll be interesting to hear what people say, because like to me, it was a big
I haven't seen it yet.
Cold shower.
You ain't seen it yet? It dropped earlier, a couple hours ago.
No, but the chat wants some more snack cameos. Listen, when you're
hungry now.
When you're on Midnight's Edge, y'all better bring your snacks.
Damn you! Let's get these super chats done so I can get some snacks.
Yeah, let's do it. And then we have. Let's see. Then we have. Yeah, I got it here. Diego Flores says, guys, Justice Department is putting Crunchyroll purchase in jeopardy. Yellow Flash is still in chat asking him for details. Well, update us when you get something. And Flipmo360 wonders, why is Paulie's avatar a guy tongue-kissing an elephant?
You know you're never going to let that down now, right?
I'm never going to unsee it. So.
I don't like you guys anymore.
You got a time for a new logo.
It's a shame because that one is so cool.
It is cool, but like I can't.
It's very cool.
Now.
I'm not changing my logo.
It's like the elephant really wants whatever's down his throat.
Never change. Don't be.
I just.
No, I'm doubling down, guys.
Yeah, good. That's how you. That's how I want to respond. Own it and double down.
Yeah, for our little emojis, when we get to that level, we're gonna have the little slant man with, like, like with my hats. You get to pick a different hat. But
somebody's gonna do your logo now with eyes and everything and make the trunk.
Oh, why did you say that, Tom?
Because I know somebody's gonna do it now that I said it.
You're probably gonna do it.
I don't have the time for that shit, but there's people who do.
Well, all I gotta say is Latino Slant will soon be sponsored by Santitas.
Awesome.
If they're listening, go for it, man.
We have this running joke on the Retro Blasting Saturday live stream because Tim always makes me eat a moon pie on the live stream because somebody who's a supporter of the channel thought they were sending us a box of moon pies and they accidentally sent us a case. And they didn't realize that they had bought a case of them from Amazon. So we ended up with like 20 boxes of these things. And so I eat one every live stream.
Wouldn't the price be a dead giveaway, I guess?
No, apparently they were running a deal or something and he didn't notice. And so it was like, $25. And suddenly he had like this, it was a case. And so Melinda and everybody now have these run-on jokes where they'll just stop in the middle of somebody's statement.
Yeah.
And go, this Retro Blasting live stream has been brought to you by Moon Pie. Moon Pie. And everyone's like, we're all sitting there going, Moon Pie is going to get wind of this. And they're like, well, we're not a food channel. So, we always say positive things. So maybe they will start sponsoring us. And I'm like, this is the weirdest backwards ass kind of marketing I've ever heard. Like it suck up to the advertiser by advertising for them already for free in the hopes that they will eventually advertise for you.
You know what? That's not a bad thing, though.
No.
Because I'll be honest, we only advertise a few things, and that's the thing is we do it because we use it. Like I've even tried getting certain people, like the shirt company I used to talk about all the time. I'm like, if you guys want to give us a deal, the most they give me is a free shirt. So I was like, no, It ain't worth the trouble. But like, yeah, I mean, if it was like something that we use constantly or whatever, and we joke about it, and if they want us to promote it, like Paulie keeps bringing up the chips and they came to him, I'd be totally for that because it's something we trust and we use. So
any fedoras, Stacey Adams, hit up the Latino Slant. Papa needs a new hat.
The only ones we'd be weary of would be anything that would have an attachment with something where they'd be like, oh, you can't make fun of this company or movie or something like that. Then we'd avoid it. Yeah,
right.
None of that. Right.
Yeah. They're not so much make fun of, but they try to regulate what we say.
Exactly. And
that's the pleasure we have now is we're not regulated. So go ahead, Andre. My bad.
And then Jack Hudson says for $20, thank you so much. The Suicide Squad looks like colorful garbage. The only cast member that I'm excited to see is David Dastmalchian, only because I have a small crush on the actor. Plus, John Cena might ruin this movie. Just a feeling. Well, let's hope not, because he's lined up for a spin-off HBO Max series. So we'll see about that. And Straight White Mage says, I saw a DeLorean parked near the ISS testing facility in Texas while attending a robotics competition. That would be the place for it. And Trenchman wonders, why isn't Deadshot in Suicide Squad 2? Is it because of air? I honestly don't know. My best guess would be that, and again, this is just a guess. I haven't researched it. But my guess would be that either James Gunn didn't want him or Will Smith demanded too much money. What
I'm
of the
thinking
two?
the latter.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, not only that, once you put Will Smith in a movie, it's a Will Smith movie.
Yeah, exactly. And that might be a good reason why James Gunn wouldn't want him.
And I think they even had stipulations come into play with the first Suicide Squad movie because of him. Like, if I remember correctly, I don't think the character was supposed to ever take their mask off and a few other things. But yeah, once Will got involved, that changed. And not only that, he has like writers that he actually has go over and like rework his lines and shit.
Yeah,
Tom Cruise and a few other guys. Yeah,
to make it a proper Will Smith vehicle. And that's a very good reason for a director like James Gunn not to want to work with the Will Smith.
Yeah.
So I can see both money and that being an issue, like a mutual agreed upon divorce.
I think I heard that's part of what kind of killed Gemini Man too, because the movie's actually not that bad. I was expecting it to be horrible, but like you can tell it's full of Will Smithism. Same thing with iRobot and all those other movies. He has his guys come in and rework the script with his lines and shit.
Yeah, it was terrible that movie. It was so. As a fan of Asimov, I hate iRobot that he used that title for a Will Smith vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I also heard, though, is that movie got completely derailed by Will Smith, basically.
Yeah, him and Tom Rothman. Between the two,
Rothman,
between the two, that went to hell. Michael, I'm sure that you weren't too big a fan of iRobot as well. I kind of like imagine that you're the kind of guy that otherwise would be looking forward to it.
Yeah, the original iRobot with Will Smith was a non-starter for me. I was intrigued by Alan Tudyk playing the actual robot himself, which he would then, go on to do again with K2SO. He seems to be really good at that kind of thing. He's like an Andy Serkis in that respect. But as far as the movie itself, it was in that 2000s era of just CGI vomit, and I felt like it undercut the source material a lot, and it was a non-starter for me. Yeah,
same as for me. And then we have Not My Picard says replacement song for Koalas in the Rain, DeLoreans in the Wild.
That's pretty funny.
Can you find the DeLorean in the wild? Send us enough pictures and I'll write a song.
We'll see what we can find.
The DeLorean's in the wild, mostly in garages.
And then
stuck in garages.
We have a question from Andres Antonio Gonzalez Cáceres. I think that's how you pronounce it. And he says, Midnight, you knew that Wonder Woman 84 was garbage. Yet until release, you did not make a video nor release info.
Actually,
why is that? Why the silence? Actually, yes, Andres, we did. We did release a video.
Yeah, a couple, I think.
Give me 1 second here. We released a video on, I'm going to find the exact date here.
I was thinking we were the only ones really talking about it.
We were the first ones before anyone else. Midnight Sedge, of course, was there.
Because I remember getting early word that early screening went bad.
Yeah. on November 11th.
And everybody's like, Tom, you're a liar. It's Wonder Woman. It's going to be great. I'm like, no, I heard it sucked ass.
Yeah.
And then we heard about what the movie was. And then I think we did like at least 2 or 3 videos. I think it was.
Yeah, we did several. We did 3 videos prior to the movie's release. The first one we did on November 11th of 2019, and the title of that movie is DC Returns to Normal with Disaster Wonder Woman 94 Test Screening. So that was a return to form for them. That video has more than 200,000 views. And then we did a follow-up in December 9th of 2019, so 1 month later, where we said that Wonder Woman 1984 trailer confirms test screening leaks.
Yep. Because that's one of the last times I remember hearing from my one source inside Warner is they told me, yeah, that test screening is not good. They said everybody's confused. I'm like, what do you mean confused? They're like, yeah, they're confused. They don't know if it's a sequel to the original film or what the hell's going on. They're very confused.
Yeah. And then we did a third video. This is the third one that Tom was talking about. This one we called Trouble Brewing with Patty Jenkins, behind the scenes of Wonder Woman 84. And the future was uncertain. This one we
got a lot of flack for that. I remember.
1st of 2020. So we published that a good 4 months before the movie premiered.
I remember we got a lot of flack for that because that was in the middle of all the Snydervrse stuff. Yeah. So there was a lot of people like, "Oh, you guys are lying. You're just haters. You're just haters." It's like, I'm just telling you what I heard. And y'all saw the fucking movie and see what we were talking about.
And you saw that once again, we were right.
Yeah, we kept warning you guys. It's a monkey paw story. Yeah.
But not so many people saw those videos. So that's probably why Andres had missed them. But really, we put them out. But YouTube doesn't always send notifications.
You have that problem too. And again, like I said at the time, I don't think a lot of people wanted to hear that. Yeah. I think a lot of people were just so stoked on getting the Snyder Cut made, and they just couldn't imagine a Wonder Woman 2 being bad. Because even though I was one of the early people to say, yeah, I didn't like the first film. It's decent for the first third or so, maybe 2/3. And yeah, the war scene is cool, but after that, it completely falls apart. And so and then when I heard about this shit, because I knew early on that one was in trouble, and we did a video about the first Wonder Woman being in trouble. So that's what I think it is. I think Patty Jenkins is not somebody that should have trusted from the start. She can make a movie like Monster, but I just don't see her. I don't see why they would pick her to do something like this. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And
Squadron film might be good.
Mm-hmm.
It might, but and that might only be good just because she has something to pull from personally. Right. But I just don't know if I can trust her with. I'm talking about trusting her with big budget, big spectacle kind of movies. Because let's be real, look at Wonder Woman, especially the last act of the first film. It looks like shit.
I was a big fan of Rogue Squadron in the 90s. I played the games, I read the books, I collected the comics. I was always into the X-Wing fighter pilots, and I'm just going to say it right now. Given the script and the result that is Wonder Woman 84, I'm going to say that the Rogue Squadron movie that comes out won't be better than Iron Eagle. I think Iron Eagle is a better movie.
Oh, Chappie.
That's right. I said it. That's Chappie. Right. I said it. Yep.
Oh, one vision.
You just lost a refinery. That's what I'm saying. Iron Eagle is better than Rogue Squadron. Will be.
Iron Eagle is held with pretty high regard around.
It is. I love Iron Eagle. I have it on the Spanish Blu-ray, which is the only way to get the Blu-ray of physical media for Iron Eagle. Yeah, that movie kicks ass, and that's my point. I'm not taking anything away from Iron Eagle. I'm saying Iron Eagle will still be the better movie when Rogue Squadron comes out.
What was the song that they played when he went in for his run?
There was the one at the beginning that's not on the soundtrack, which is
no, I'm talking about the end where he like does his run.
Oh no, I know that, but I'm trying to jog my memory. Yeah. So you had Rainy Haynes, Old Enough to Rock and Roll, and then after that, it's the other song. That's the other song that's not on the soundtrack. The one you're talking about. It's
Give Me Some Lovin'.
Eyes of Something.
Give Me Some Lovin'. Spencer Davis Group.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure that's the right scene, but that's you know.
Are you talking about the final battle scene?
Yeah, wasn't that what Chappie is playing, and then he puts it on?
Oh yeah, sorry. I was thinking about his training run.
No.
Yeah. Sorry. There's a lot of runs in that movie.
That's all it is.
Is there a box set of all the films from from other countries?
No, there's a DVD box set, but not a Blu-ray box set. But there's an official Blu-ray out of Spain where it's all in English, but you can turn the subtitles off. Yeah. And it is choice. Like
I actually have a region-free player. I'll have to import that.
Yeah,
you hear that, Andre? That's where you got to get yours from, is Spain.
Yeah, no problem at all.
And it's a new disc, so you'll be able to get it for not a lot of money. Like
actually, I'll do it right now.
And the lead guy of Spencer Davis Group is correct, Steve Winwood.
I was thinking of what was that other song from from his training run. Oh, gosh, hold on, I'm gonna find it. Not Road to the Gypsy, not Never Say Die.
Got it right here. It's 12 euros, Spanish Blu-ray. 12 euros 99 actually.
Looks like I got eBay for a choice.
No, and I'm sorry if I let anyone on the impression that I didn't like Iron Eagle. What
Hey,
I'm saying
Iron Eagle 3 is on Blu-ray.
Whoopity doo!
Yeah, I know, right?
Wow.
I just wanted to box it to have them all. It's just nice to.
Yeah,
it is.
Well, yeah, I mean, in a sense.
Well, that way, if you do a review, I like to just have it for catalog purposes, and that way I can just jump to it if I need it.
Yeah, Tom, do you need the Iron Eagle Blu-ray, the Spanish one?
Sure.
Because there's one in stock.
Oh well, you get it for you, and I'll get one off of eBay. Don't worry about it.
No, I'll get it for you. I don't need it.
Well, you got to see it yet.
Yeah, I can see it. Then I can send it to you.
Oh, well, whatever. Yeah. Well, what if you like it though?
Well,
and then you decide you want to keep it, and then by the time you decide you want to keep it, it's out of print, and then I got to pay $70 for a copy of it because Andre likes Iron fucking Eagle, and he's just like, "Look, I can't help it, Tom. I like the movie. It's got one vision."
This is what Tom's nightmares look like.
Yes, exactly. No, my nightmares are much worse.
Eyes of the World. That's the song.
Eyes of the World.
Eyes of the World.
I've got the LP.
Yeah, it's not on there.
Oh, that's
no, I know.
It's by Eric Martin.
The CD is actually pretty affordable, to be honest.
Yeah, the Iron Eagle CD is, but there's two major songs that aren't. Yeah. There's actually a few songs that aren't on the soundtrack.
I'm sure.
But
that was typical.
The one by Rainey Haynes, which is Old Enough to Rock and Roll, and then Eyes of the World by Eric Martin. Yep.
What's a better soundtrack, Iron Eagle or Flash Gordon?
Oh, don't do that.
That's tough.
See, because that's actually a trick question. Because
right.
First of all, it should be which one's better. It's a Kind of Magic, or the Flash soundtrack, because Iron Eagle just only has like one song by Queen in it, as opposed to It's a Kind of Magic is actually two soundtracks in one, kind of, sort of.
Right.
So there you go.
Well, it's also the band doing the entire score.
And the answer is It's a Kind of Magic is a better album.
Is Iron Eagle could you argue that Iron Eagle is a movie where it's the soundtrack's greatness that keeps the movie top of mind all these years later?
Maybe, but I don't want to believe that.
I don't
because
either.
I was never a fan of Top Gun to begin with.
Yeah, same.
Top Gun soundtrack?
No, the movie itself.
Top Gun. Yeah, the movie.
Top Gun.
The soundtrack's all right.
What? I went to the
not the best Kenny Loggins song.
It grows on you. It's grown on me.
It's a good song.
Yeah, and
take my they hate that song. Berlin fucking hate that song. They refuse to sing it live.
Doesn't matter.
I hate that song too. So
yeah, it's a little overplayed.
Best Kenny Loggins song, "Don't Fight It" with Steve Perry.
That's a good song.
No.
I'm more partial to "I'm All Right" though. That's my leader.
That's a good one. That's a great one. He's got a lot of good ones.
He's got a lot of good ones. I grew up on
Footloose is great too. We can't forget about Footloose, you know. That's better than the movie itself.
Meet Me Halfway from Over the Top.
Meet Me Halfway.
Oh, that's a great song. Is that from this movie?
No, it's from Over the Top.
Over the Top.
Okay. Yeah.
See, I'm wrestling movie.
He did an old song. He wrote Christopher Robin. In the
Yeah,
70s.
that's a great song too. The Pooh Corner.
Pooh Corner.
And,
I think
Tom,
Return to Pooh Corner is a little better, but yeah.
Tom, you'll be glad to know that the last version of that was available in Amazon Espanol is now on its way to me in Blu-ray, and depending on how much I like it, it'll be forwarded to you or not.
I got one of your movies here yet too. I was thinking about watching. Somebody sent for you that one I was telling you about. I'd never heard of before, but looked interesting. We got a Christopher Talk says Highlander was all Queen. That's right.
Yeah,
it was all Queen. I just watched Highlander again like 2 weeks ago.
Now, Pendejo.
I should have watched something I have not seen, but that's what happens when I sit down and try to figure out what I should watch of shit I shouldn't. It's like I got to watch this. I should watch this. I should watch that. Next thing you know, I'm watching Highlander.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Speaking of watching many times, Warwolf said in reference to you having seen Phantom Menace 13 times. 13 times? Crazy. I went to see Zootopia 6 times, and I loved it each time. That was a record for me in going to see a flick in theaters.
I have a shameful correction to this person's statement. I said I went and saw it 13 more times. So I actually saw it 14 times.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, man. Oh, sorry. Father Christopher Miller's probably in the chat. My bad.
I remember seeing Phantom Menace a few times.
I saw it 4, but that 4th time I fell asleep during the pod race.
I was having a personality crisis. Okay, there was nothing I could do. I was like, what am I?
It was a phase you were going through college, all right?
It was just this. My world is crumbling down around me. That can't be possible. I must be missing something. I've got to go back and revisit this again.
It was supposed to be the greatest movie that was ever made. I know that.
And it was. Yeah, no. Don't ever meet your heroes, people.
But I will say though that for those that haven't seen it, Zootopia is a seriously freaking great movie. So I don't blame Warren.
I have it, but I haven't watched it yet.
I haven't.
It's amazeballs. It really is. It's it's a kind of movie that probably couldn't be made today. It's just a few years old, but you couldn't make it today. It's a movie with an actual story and subtext.
I got the 3D Blu-ray, but I just never watched it.
You should. It's fantastic.
And before anybody gets into the argument, we're not talking about the greatest soundtrack of all time.
No,
we just were talking about between Top Gun and Iron Eagle initially. I know people were confused because then Highlander comes into the conversation, and it's like, yeah.
Oh, and going back to the movie I'm going to see, La Bamba has a great soundtrack.
Oh, hell yeah. They went #1.
Yeah, man.
Not only that, it was one of the early digitally recorded soundtracks. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I will be doing a video at some point called My Argument for Why Iron Eagle is Better Than Top Gun. And I would also like to point out on another unrelated note that why wouldn't you want to watch a movie that has a scene in it where a grungy dude in a trench coat is sitting at a smoke-filled bar and he looks over at a lady who's unattended, and he says, Madison Square Garden. Because that to me, Christopher Lambert, he's the reason you watch Highlander. I love Sean Connery, but he gets killed. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Lambert. That's why I don't really dig the series as much. And I know all the women are like, what? It's like, yeah, well, sorry.
Mm-hmm. That laugh.
That's great. Yeah, you did it. You do him pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah, he makes those movies for sure. That last one with him though really pissed me off.
I walked out of that movie.
I wanted to, but my girlfriend at the time was so into fucking Highlander. But it ended up making her mad too. But I'm like, she was all right with it more so because she was into the series. But I'm like, what? She's like, why didn't you like? I'm like, what? They let him go out like a fucking bitch.
I walked out at that moment.
What was that shit?
I told my friends, I said, if they kill him, because they dragged me to it, and I said, if they kill him in this movie, I'm getting up and leaving. And they were like,
which one is it?
Highlander Endgame.
Oh,
we
I never
both
saw
knew
it.
what we were talking about. That's the sad
Yeah.
part. Like,
Yeah.
I was just like, "Are you kidding? I knew it too. The moment they had that bit early on in the movie, I knew that's where it was leading to.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
And when
Yeah.
dude, when he got hit when he said, kill me or whatever, and I got up and all my friends were like, "Oh, you were serious?" And I'm like, "Bye, I'll see you in the lobby." And I left.
And I made the argument at the time. I'm like, okay, they're all breaking the rules behind the scenes, and then there's the whole thing for his reasoning for him killing him is so he can be powerful enough to fight him, right? Like everybody else is breaking the fucking rules. Break the fucking rules and fight together. Jesus goddamn Christ. That's what the audience wants. It's like, oh,
yeah.
How hard is that? How hard is that?
And that's why I knew Batman versus Superman wouldn't work.
I understand that leap of logic right there.
That was what that movie taught me. When I saw that trailer, I was like, "This isn't going to work." I've already seen.
How hard do you have to try to be worse than Highlander 2? Highlander Endgame is the answer.
Oh well, we saw, didn't we? Because
exactly. Now that we're pulling shit out of nowhere, but yes, that is like the antithesis of we have fucked up and made the worst, probably considered on most lists the worst movie of all time, right? With Highlander 2. And then they're like, "Oh, how do we top this shit?" Endgame. All right, let's do it. Fuck them. I hate that fucking movie. Oh my god, did it piss me off?
Yep. Good times.
Speaking of good times, we have a few more super chats to get through.
Sorry about that.
And Bor Legion says, George Lucas subverted our expectations with the prequels. Changed my mind. And hi, Michael. He also says,
Hi.
Feels like he's eating.
Yeah. And
I'm eating inferior tortilla chips. They're not as good as Polly's. They're inferior.
So what you could do, guys, this is a Midnight's Edge Latino Slam food tip. You take some of these, you crunch them up, scramble some eggs, and meat of your choice, and then you throw some salsa on top, and you got yourself some chilaquiles.
See, and this is what Michael means by inferior. He yelled at Melinda, "Go, hey, do we have any chips? I really want some chips right now." No, but we got some crackers. All right.
Yeah, they're basically. See, they call themselves Mexican style tortilla chips.
Wow.
It's like
Mexican style, just like the National Treasure TV series.
No, taco flavored. So that was bad. I'm gonna get.
Oh
Lord.
Oh no! It's not a Spaceball alien in the background. That is R2-D2.
Yeah,
coming out of the wall.
I have one of those with Yoda.
Yeah.
And then moving on a little bit, so we can move through the remaining super chats. Master Clockwork says, worst midnight showing was Avengers Endgame.
Really?
I had read the leaks believing they were fake because there was no way the plot could be that dumb. And Master Clockwork was evidently disappointed. And Planar Aspect says, Reloaded is the only time in my life I've ever been left with a bad taste in my mouth. So yeah, that didn't do any wonders. And Trenchman says, Ultraman was supposed to be in RP1. Sadly, was cut. Wes Moody Webcast says, let's be honest, the do-over Snyder Cut is better than the movie Snyder would have given us if Joss never entered the picture. This is probably a good point.
Well, it still has Joss involved, but
he was involved in the writing. Yeah, but here's like no, not this one. The thing that we got here is completely pre-Whedon. So Whedon has nothing whatsoever to do with the Snyder Cut that we're getting right now. But here's like the thing: this is a 4-hour Snyder Cut. Ain't no way that we would have gotten anything more than like 3.5 hours, or 3 hours, something like that. If the Wes Whedon version had never happened, we would have gotten something better than the Whedon version, but we wouldn't have gotten the Snyder Cut that we got right now if not for the Whedon version. this is actually true. That is a point. Of course, without the Whedon version, we'd probably have gotten a continuation. We don't have that now, so yeah. And then Super Blubberpass says, the look on Iris' face should have been like crapping her pants. She only saw the truck. Yeah, that's also a very good point. I did see that one scene, but it probably would ruin the feel of the moment, so I'm not going to defend it. Christopher Tock says, some of my Biden bucks, you know the thing. Well, thank you for sharing your Biden bucks. We really appreciate that. And Dash Des says for $5 Canadian, why try to make Suicide Squad at all? It has so many complex parts you have to get right. Group composition, their personalities, etc. Keep it simple, WB. Well, I can answer that because that's the movie that's not Zack Snyder, but that James Gunn wanted to do. They contacted him and they said, we want you to do a DC movie. You can choose any DC movie you want, just do one for us. And he said, I want that one. That's how that happens. That
and
was
I
actually
sent
his
you
choice.
a quote that everybody keeps forgetting, and this is what I keep reminding people was, Joss Whedon was part of the writing group that they brought in to work on Justice League before it was actually done, before he even took over. So, again,
Yeah.
it was kind of like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but that was after the screening had already happened. So that was like for a new round of reshoots. The footage that we have in this Snyder Cut predates him coming in.
And this says here, it was already known that Whedon had begun work on Justice League prior to Snyder's departure.
Yes, that he had.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that he had. It's not that,
but
that they replaced
him. It appears
him,
he consulted much earlier on. And this is what I kept telling people because I got told that Whedon was hanging around. Before way before any of that shit, though. Like, he even had, like, that's the thing, is this the reason Justice League. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it all now. Never mind.
Yeah. No, he was there, and you saw that at one point he was even announced for a Batwoman movie, and that's like the thing. He was there, hanging around.
Yeah, but that was even way after the fact. That's not what I'm talking about. But anyway.
Yeah, no, but the relation had started already there, so that was kind of like the thing that before it was announced, he was.
I'm saying before, basically, his influence would have been influencing the original film, is what I'm talking about too. But anyway,
that could have been a little bit of it. I'm not saying that there was nothing at all there. Like, his influence was also in the original X-Men, just wasn't very huge, but it was there.
According to Kyle Buchanan, they had Joss Whedon, Alan Heinberg, and Seth Graham-Smith, and Andrea Berloff offering feedback early on. And that's what I was saying, is like, he was involved way before it was like turned over to Whedon alone, is what I've been trying to say, but nobody listens to me on that. But anyway.
Yeah, no, he was involved. I don't think that anyone is disputing this. Well, I'm sure some people are disputing that, but yeah, he was involved earlier on, but it's a matter of to which extent. When do you go from influence to calling the shots? And that was decidedly after the Snyder Cut that we now have on HBO.
Well, because that's like what I was getting at, because they had like a group of writers group with Joss Whedon, and that's where they were punching up the script or whatever initially.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a whole shit show that went through many, many different iterations. It absolutely did that. And then Christopher Tock says Highlander was all Queen. And Geeks Enjoy Nerdrotica says, howdy y'all, #free the net. I don't know what that is, but sure. And Warwolf clarifies, it's rare for me to see a movie more than once or twice. Hence why Zootopia was such a record setter. And Tom, you getting back to me or what?
Was that
Warwolf?
Yeah, I just emailed you yesterday. hopefully we can set some up for maybe this weekend, if not this next week. I just been so behind on everything. It took me an extra day just to get that video out today that was supposed to be out yesterday. So yeah, you're just gonna have to give me a chance to get caught up. We didn't even have a show yesterday because the screening for Tom's movie came together kind of last minute. So yeah, I'll get a hold of you this weekend if not.
Yeah. And says for $2, Adrian Paul. And why
you're
that?
Part of the problem.
And with that, even if is part of the problem, we are fully caught up. Yeah,
finally.
Can't make anyone happy with my avatar. Shit.
Well, there's nothing wrong with your. Why? Who's bitching about your avatar?
It's scaring people in the chat. So.
What?
That's Day of the Dead.
James Cameron's never made anybody happy with his avatar either.
Michael's on fire today. Holy shit.
Yeah, for my homie, the Mexican Iron Man homie. There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
I don't think you see him in the chat today yet. He must be busy.
I think he was off walking the park with his dogs and all that good stuff, getting some sun.
A lot of the regulars I see, but no, I didn't see him. Did we get Wes Moody's super chat?
Which one?
Yeah, didn't you read it?
Oh, and which one was that? From who?
Wes Moody.
Wes Moody webcast.
Wes Moody webcast.
Would have been from a while ago.
I believe we did. That name seems very. Let me double check here.
Yeah, just to double check.
Pretty sure we did. Let's be honest. A do-over Snyder Cut. Yeah, we got that one.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
All right. So then we're all caught up. And was there anything else we wanted to talk about today? I think we've talked about everything we can talk about today.
Yeah, I think we
I'd really like to spend an hour. I'd like to spend another hour talking about the Iron Eagle soundtrack, if that's okay. No,
well, we could do that.
No, I'm joking.
But we can do that on Midnight's Edge Music one of these days whenever we get that up and running. Speaking of getting things up and running, again, if you haven't heard the announcement, we have a new channel starting on Cinco de Mayo, and that is Midnight's Edge Espanol, or the Spanish name. I can't remember what it is.
Al filo de medianoche.
Yeah, that.
Or just al filo would be badass, because it's like the edge of a knife, the filero, that's where you're gonna cut someone. I'll cut ya.
We'll see what we can do with that, because But anyway, so yeah, that's good. We have we're assembling a very, very cool team for that. So we're very happy and excited about that expansion. So that's going to be very cool.
We're ready, gathering content, getting it ready for May, and got some cool people involved. So look out for that.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And with that, how is the weather down in Australia? With the koalas, it's raining there?
I think it might just be raining.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given. Koalas in the rain.